Hail and well met. Battle Brother Nightingale, Frag Motor 007, good to see you guys. Welcome in, thanks for checking in. Anyone else tuning in? Hi! So, we are going to defy the summer heat and get back into Rogue Trader. Where we are, I believe, towards the end of Chapter 2. Chapter 2 has been going on for a long-ass time, but as a result, we have done almost everything and explored pretty much all of the Coronis Expanse. So all that is left before we advance to Chapter 3, I think, is to go and deal with some pesky Drukhari. I think that will take us on to Chapter 3. However, before we do that, we do have some stuff to take care of back in Footfall, which is where I think we will start tonight's stream, by going to Footfall. So, how are you guys doing? How are you holding up? There is a heat wave here. I wonder if there's a heat wave where you guys are as well. Because I am suffering. How hot is it right now? It's actually not that hot. It's only 27 degrees or 74 Fahrenheit with 57% humidity. That is actually not too bad. There's almost no wind though, which does make it a bit more stifling. Alright, we are in Furibundus and ready to visit Footfall for two purposes. One, we had to have a celebration with Jai to mark her achievement of that trader rank that I don't remember the name of. And secondly, we had to go to... Oh yes, we got a streaker! We had to go to the station, the Adeptus Mechanicus station, to get someone who can repair our... I don't remember what it's called. The bench, the something throne that installs cybernetics in people, which I'm pretty sure is the new DLC. Fragmotor, thank you for the streak. Appreciate it. Alright. Your Ladyship, we have contacted Altar Templum Calixis X-17. In accordance with your orders, the Astropathic Choir sent a message to the station about the plight of the implantation throne. Altar Templum responded to our overture very promptly, which in itself is extremely remarkable for cloistered servants of the Omnissiah. The Adeptus Mechanicus report that they are most aggrieved by the misfortune that has befallen the ancient relic, and they are prepared to dispatch to the flagship a learned man versed in the restoration of Archaeotech machines. His name is Eogan Fabris, and he is ready not only to personally assist the dynasty, but also teach the chip's engine seers all the necessary rituals. In return, the Crimson Priests ask only that you visit the station and inform them of the fate of the miraculous fusion reactor from Rykad Minoris. Very well, I will adjust my plans to include a visit to the Tech Priests of Altar Templum. I will relay that you have agreed to visit the station. Click. So that is there. However, I do want to go to Footfall and celebrate with Jai first. But before I do that, what is Drusus's blessing? That's gotta be like the priestly guys, right? Chartist Captain Austerius Thorfast. A familiar voice cuts through the hissing of the Vox channel. Greetings, what can I do for you? I want to take a look at the catalog of components available for purchase. Drusus's blessing. Oh, it's part of the Imperial Navy. Alright. We are rank 7, which means we can just... And we have 98 profit factors. We can just do this. Grab all of that. Now, do I want to try and push towards some of this? Oh, that's kind of bad. Must be extremely long range. Short range! With 2 autonomous aiming... Okay, so I think you get to fire these twice. Yeah, can be used twice per turn. Okay, that makes them less bad. Okay. Now, I think we're good with what we have. So let's just take a look at our ship. I would like the latest. What did we get here? Power shield amplifier. Answers the installed power shield generator on each side. It's increased by 20%. You know what? I think I'll take that over the focusing lens. Because I am getting tired of having such bad range. Allow Starhawk bombers to be launched. So do I want Starhawk bombers instead of Fury interceptors? I mean, I guess if I drop the power shield amplifiers, I should be able to have both, right? Yeah, let's do that. Glimmer pattern void shield. Oh, that's just a straight upgrade to what I have. Get that. The engine. Low acceleration and braking, though. We don't want that. 13 speed. So that's just plain better. Assault scanners, not as good as the Auspex multi-broadband. Right, this is starting to get a little confusing, so I'm wondering if maybe... Yeah, I'm just gonna start sending some things to cargo. Keep that. Definitely not keep that. Keep one of these. I think that's just plain worse. Don't think that's any good. Keep that. Cargo that. Cargo that. Cargo that. STG's macro pattern. Let's see, 3 shots for 24, medium range. 4 shots for 21. It's just not any better than any of my broadsides. Just not as good. Yeah, that's just plain. Actually, hold on. That is a better crit chance, but I would rather have... Yeah, no. That can get cargoed as well. 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 Keep the power shield amplifier for now, and keep the focusing lens for now. In case I change my mind about anything. Alright, then also, before we head to Footfall, I need to check on my colonies. This doesn't have anything available. This doesn't have anything available. Agonis requires my presence, so we'll... Oh yeah, we were going to check that on the way up to deal with the Drukhari. Right. Doesn't have any projects available. Veabo 6. They have completed Holy Servitude. Lovely. They have a couple of options available. Let's see, Extractium Metallica. Deepen the mines. Cost me 2 of my promethium and 2 of my chemicals. But I get 4 adamantine, 4 plasteel, 2 phlogiston, and 2 efficiency. I do lose 1 security, but that absolutely seems worth it. I'm gonna do that. And Kiava Gamma has finished making a Chapel of Enumeration. Let's see what options we have. Giants. Only thing I remember about Giants is that it is required for some other project on one of my other planets. Centuries ago, liturgies of assembly and first ignition were held on Kiava Gamma for majestic steel monstrosities, all-crushing mountain tunnelers, mighty cargo haulers, and voracious mega-harvesters. This virtuous craft is lost now, but Adeptus Mechanicus artisans can revive it. Then, once again, triumphant calls of klaxons will shake the Coronis expanse. Costs me 1 of my adamantine, 2 of my mechanisms, 2 of my plasteel. But in return, I get 10 mobile extractiums and 3 replenishing mobile extractions. I mean, this is a no-brainer. 2 extra complacency is welcome as well. And I can do Tools of Righteousness, which I think is on Foulstone, but I'm not sure. Yeah, execute. Oh no, it's a contract. She wants 4 weapons and 4 mechanisms in return for 4 profit factor. That... I have so high profit factor already, I actually kind of don't want that. I might take Tenuous Peace, though. Not right now. Anyway, that is our colonies dealt with. Let's just save so we don't have to do that again. And let us head to Footfall. So what I want to do is this one. Jehadaris celebration. Because she has gotten the Mercatum Tabula Officiale. So yeah, let's go to the, I think it's called the Adeptus Amazecus. Shireen, if you find a spare minute on Footfall when you are not deciding our lackluster fates, I would be delighted to see you at my America in the Amazecus. I'll tell Octi to set aside some decent wine in case you decide to grace our humble party with your luminous presence. America, is that some kind of celebration? It is an occasion celebrated on my world, Ifrit. It is the day when a person shows, by their actions, that they have reached maturity, that their spirit is ennobled. Among the Ifritian nobility, this day is considered more important than other symbolic events, such as the first cry or the day of repose. And, by a wonderful coincidence, my America happens to fall on the day when I also wish to celebrate my acquisition of the Mercatum Tabula Officiale. It would be my pleasure to attend your party. The lowly regulars of the Amazecus will be telling their great-grandchildren about the time they had the honor of witnessing your dazzling visit to that unworthy dive, Shireen. That is, of course, if they live long enough to see their great-grandchildren. Alright, who are we bringing on board? So I'm noticing Jai is not an option because she's off celebrating, so we can't have her in our party. That's fun. Abelard, Pascal, who else is up for a party? Idira, Kibella, and Cassia. I'm not really expecting any combat or anything dramatic. I'm literally just expecting to attend that party. Although maybe some ruffians want to get rough. Maybe someone has too much to drink and pulls out a gun. We shall see. Okay, so where did it put me? On the Martyr's Endurance. So that's the Adeptus Amazecus. So it just put me straight to the party because I said I would attend. That's fair. That's fine. Saves me the trouble of navigating there. However, before I go any further, let me just level up Kibella. Just in case. In case I need her to do anything. Okay, ability. Terrifying Strike might be fun. Reckless Abandon might be fun. That's not gonna do much. No, I don't want that. I think we're gonna go with Reckless Abandon. Choose a common trait. Nah. Nah. I don't want all this bloodstained stuff. Wait, Dueling Mastery, what's that? Yeah, let's have that. Choose a regular talent. Alright. Let's do Anatomy Expert. Let's gain some toughness. Actually back. Then Anatomy Expert doesn't make sense when she has such extremely high toughness. Let's do Bloody Trail. And then let's get Strength for more melee damage. That makes more sense. And then finally a skill. Let us go with Law Imperium. No, she's not particularly great at that. Medicae? She's really good at Medicae. Let's keep that. Alright, there we go. Now, let's go party. My name isn't even Barbie.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Come on, Rogue Trader, let's go party. Yeah. Hello, citizen. Hello, Gaudy. Where is Jai's celebration? No, but seriously, where is Jai's celebration? Doesn't seem to be much of a celebration going on. Over here? No?
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Gotta say, Jai, I was expecting more. There's Jai. You easily spot Jai in the group crowded around the table. The extravagant luxury of her attire and her gleaming augments set her apart from the rest. Seeing you, she exclaims, "May the gravitational wells on your world never lack for grip, just as my heart never lacks for joy at the sight of Rogue Trader von Valancius." With an approving chuckle, Octaviana mutters, "I can't believe it. You actually roped the Rogue Trader into coming to your party. If the rogue trader raises a toast to your health, I'll start to believe you really are a princess, and not just a smuggler with the gift of the gab. Please, take a seat, your ladyship. Let's take a look at the group. Jai's friends look exactly as you would expect, like hardened operators of the cold trade, arrayed in the forbidding but glitzy style common to those who like to skirt the limits of the law. I'm glad I didn't bring Solomon for this. Or Heinrichs, for that matter. One pair in particular catches your eye. A young man and woman, twins it seems, identical yet distinct from one another. The man has a lively face and a crazed look in his eye, while the woman is cold and calm and seems slightly drowsy. Octaviana readily tops up the glasses on the table, playing the role of consummate host, but you notice that her and Jai's chairs are drawn slightly closer together than usual for a pair who seem connected only by superficial acquaintances. How's your party going? We have been laughing and celebrating life, Shireen, as true friends do. But until your arrival, we were but stars in a moonless sky, merely heralding your coming. Now we are happy. Well, I will gladly join you. Octaviana draws out a bottle from under the table. The glass is as thick as your finger and is covered in wax seals. With no exaggeration, this is the finest amasec that has ever graced this bar. Jai personally acquired it, as she says, for a special occasion. It seems you are the special occasion, your ladyship. The crowd around the table falls silent, exchanging awkward looks. It would appear they are unaccustomed to drinking in the presence of lofty individuals such as you. Well, let us drink to the lady of the hour, Jai Hedari. The assembled group bursts into approving cheers, and the bar fills with the sound of clinking glasses. The amasec tastes exorbitantly expensive, sweeping you into a kaleidoscope of flavors. Tart floral bitterness, honeyed sweetness, and then other far more refined sensations that are nameless, owing to the small number who can afford to experience them. Bravo, Octi! This amasec will do me very well. Very well indeed. Jai's self-satisfied reply elicits general laughter, and the tension at the table seems to loosen slightly. So, Octaviana, you and Jai are friends? Octaviana offers you an arch smile. Friends? She is my worst enemy, the vengeful spirit of retribution sent to punish me for my youthful transgressions. Mistress Hedari has a special gift for knocking me off balance and dragging me into difficulty. I would have barred her from the Amasekas long ago if it weren't for her habit of tossing money around like confetti and of paying triple for anything she breaks. Do you see, Shireen? Do you see the petty, miserly, callous, unforgiving friends the Exalted One has sent me?
Oh, yes, we got a streaker.
Oh, Niddler, welcome! Thank you for the stream streak. How you doing? So, these are your associates? The precious roses in the garden of my soul, and the golden little bees that bring honeyed riches to my treasure house. Yes, this is my crew of cold traders. The two identical ones are the trickster twins, my closest associates. Kor, our resident hothead, and his much wiser sister, Tora. Mirchilanti Kurade! I hope that means something good, Fan of Light. How you doing? Welcome. Great to see you. How you doing? Don't let her fool you, your ladyship. She's only calling me a precious rose because you're here. When it's just us, I'm lucky if I get that asshole with the gun. Because you are the asshole with the gun. If I dragged you out of as many scrapes as Jai has, that's not the name I'd be using for you, I can tell you that much. Kor's sister rolls her eyes. Pay no attention to him, your ladyship. Kor has nobody to blame but himself for that nickname. What have we here? A man who has just approached the table is hideous by anyone's standard. A repulsive face, greasy hair, and bulging veins at his temples. His attempt at an amiable smile is so transparently false and off-putting that your fingers itch to reach for your weapon. With a surprised look askance at you, he says, "Mr. Sadari, allow me to wish you a happy America." Master Mercy could not let such an occasion go unmarked. He sends his warm wishes and a gift. How about me? I'm good. Heat is tormenting me, of course, but outside of that, I am quite well.
I had a burrito for dinner. It was good.
Mercy's gift. Oh, that's pretty good. Oh, Falco, I am much obliged and touched by your presence. May the fire in your hearth burn forever bright and hot like the stars of the Grimnor system. Tell Mercy that this show of his precious attention towards my humble self brought dew to my eyes and a song to my heart. Isn't Falco the one who stole Jai's cargo? The very same, the greasy piece of grok shit, Octaviana says, wearing the sweetest, most amiable smile one could imagine. But the stars of the Gremnor system all died around 100,000 years ago, and the systems around them are a true breeding ground of death. Who is this Mercy? Some big mysterious figure in the mission. The Casbalikas put him here to keep a handle on things, and to make sure the interest of the senior partners aren't forgotten. If anyone does become a bit forgetful, Mercy comes along, somebody dies, everyone else panics and empties their pockets. Again, a Raya Lasima reference. Man with spicy character. The man of the streets. I am not a man of the streets, but thank you. Although a friend did once tell me that I was so street my middle name should be Asphalt, but I do think he was being sarcastic. Falco and Mercy aren't officially connected. Falco's just another prosperous mission agent like Jai and other people. But Falco's happy to do Mercy's dirty work for him, and that's why he gets preferential treatment. Well, I'm not going to get involved in that. Sacrificing time you could have spent on business to come here for me is a priceless gift, Falco. I will not test your generosity any further. That was a very polite way of telling him to fuck off. As Falco turns away from the table, you see a snarl of feral hatred twist his already repulsive features. Mircilanti curade. What language is that, Fan of Light? What were you talking about before I arrived? Shoot Falco in the head. I might if I get the opportunity. Business. My dear Tora, whose mind never strays from the chilly peaks of the mountains of money she's made, was telling me the latest coal trade news. Exciting times are upon us. We're not the only ones being tested for weak spots. Vladame's set on putting the Ultraquisitors out of business, and it looks like he's got Mercy's blessing to do it. The big beasts are picking off the small ones. I think things are only going to get more interesting from here on out. Telugu. Oh, okay. That means it's time for us to step up and become major players, eh? Kor winks at Jai. I know a couple of Chegnars from the Ultraquisitors. They're dry as you like. We could tell them to cool their heels with us, and they'll be more willing at the other altars. We could take on Falco, and even blow Vladame out the airlock too. Kor, my sweet, before you go chewing Vaseline with Chegnars, you need to clear the altar and hide the pulses. If Vladame's playing all the lines, he won't touch me, but I don't want to shift the risk onto you. There's chatter about the commission. Conversation quickly turns into an impenetrable mishmash of terms from the secret argot of coal traders. Even foes are bowing down before Jai Haidari. That is something worth celebrating. And what better way to celebrate than with a game? With stakes, naturally. Today is my America, and that is what I want. Jai draws a stack of carved plasteel tiles from her pocket. They are decorated with symbols and fine mag lines. Holding the tiles in one hand and raising her glass with another, Jai asks, "What do you think, Shireen? Does the rogue trader have anything she's willing to wager?" You recognize the tiles in Jai's hand. It is a set for Tanto Lo, a game popular among gamblers. Each player is dealt several tiles which can be arranged into a pattern of a specific value by matching up the mag lines. Whoever has the highest value wins. Voidsmen love playing Tanto Lo, which is usually won by luck or skill. So I wonder if I were a Voidsman, if I would have a better chance at succeeding this. I do not know the rules. It's easy. Every player is dealt a few tiles, the tiles are connected by mag lines, and there are a lot of possible combinations. You arrange the tiles in a design that has a particular value, and whoever has the highest value wins. Talking a mile a minute about the rules and tile combinations, Jai deftly shuffles the stack of tiles. This feels like it's a combination of, like, rummy and dominoes. I'll play. I shall play. Watch out for her ladyship, lads. She was awfully quick to agree just now. I have a sneaking suspicion about how the rogue trader acquired all her countless riches. But I'll warn you for now. Playing for money is considered wrong on Ifrit, because gaming is tempting fate. So instead, we're going to play for wishes. A pile of tiles is placed in front of you and the other players. Alright, what's my hand? You have been dealt a poor hand. You cannot make a high-value arrangement from the tiles. Okay. Glancing at her tiles and grinning, Jai declares resolutely, "I'm going to show my hand. The Exalted One loves me today." And if one doesn't show one's hand, then you have a chance to bow out of the game without losing. But you can only do that before someone announces they're going to show their hand. Well, no luck. Tosses her tiles on the table. Her hand is significantly better than yours or anyone else's. And for my wish, I want everyone to drink to my good fortune. It has already granted me a gift fit for a queen. I'm talking about you, Shireen. May fortune continue to smile upon me. Everyone at the table eagerly raises their glasses. You join in before you're even aware you've done so. A new stack of tiles is already waiting for you on the table. You realize that moments have skipped past without your knowing. It seems the Amasek is somewhat stronger than you thought. Alright, let's play one more hand. Now this one is definitely a good hand. One of the best you can get. Nice. When you look up, you see that everyone else, apart from Jai, has already tossed their tiles onto the table in disappointment. It's just us two left, Shireen. I'm going to show my hand. Well, I'm also going to show my hand. The sight of your hand sets everyone at the table into a flurry of excitement, but then chatter turns into a roar of triumph. Jai's hand is the most valuable in the game. I win again. What should I wish of you, Shireen? Given your profession, I would extract a promise of my assistance should you ever find yourself in trouble in the future. You promise to save me? What an exciting adventure that could turn out to be. It is almost worth getting into trouble for. I accept your stake. Tiles are dispersed around the table, forming piles in front of each player. You suddenly feel your body grow heavy. The treacherous Amasek is slowly robbing you of your clarity of thought and dexterity. Alright, I think I've had enough. I'll take my leave. How fleeting are moments of happiness, Shireen. Go, but know that you are always welcome at Jai Hidari's table. Okay, do I now have a drunk debuff? Clouded Reason. Yes. I don't know what it does, but I am affected by Clouded Reason. I mean, that was it, I think. That was all I wanted to do on, Yeah. That was all we had to do on Footfall. Well, we do have these two, but I don't really want to bother with those. So yeah, let's head back to the ship.
Follow my lead.
Guess we're going to the docks. Good evening, Sandstail. Welcome on in. Oh shit, and a raid.
My lord, reinforcements have arrived.
Red Rust, welcome on in. Thank you so much for the raid. Welcome, raiders. I am Bear Anderson. I am a variety streamer. I don't claim to be very good at games, but it's all about just chilling out and having fun. So that's what we do around here. How was Baldur's Gate 3, Red Rust? How is that going? Also, I am still very early in my first playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3, so no spoilers, please. I am still in Chapter 1.
Victory awaits.
Good to see you again. Good to see you as well. How are you doing? Just started Act 3 on strategic mode. What strategic mode? Is that like one of the higher difficulties? Or is it a particular game mode? It's been a fun campaign so far. Nice. Yeah, I'm occasionally streaming Baldur's Gate 3 together with my good friend Zelaminator. We've had some trouble scheduling streams recently, but she's played through it before, or at least through part of it. I haven't. I'm completely blind. So she's kind of, I won't say leading me through, but she's assisting me. Higher difficulty, but not as hard as honor mode. Got it. And actually, checking my calendar, this coming Wednesday is the next time we'll continue my Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough. In case you're interested. Alright, let's go talk to the tech priests. They're probably going to be upset that I blew up the generator. But I didn't really have a choice. It was that or let it fall into chaos. Let the entire planet fall to chaos, actually. We have entered the station's orbit, Lord Captain, awaiting a signal from Alta Templum Calixis X-17. For a few seconds, the Vox frequency carries only trepidatious silence, which is soon broke by a rattling voice. We offer up our thanks to the Omnisire for the intersection of events with a margin of error within the confidence interval. In the infinite branches of the future, this outcome will be marked as favorable. I am Tetria Lemma, Logis of Alta Templum, Calixis X-17, and I appeal to the rogue trader for sacred knowledge. What is the fate of the miraculous fusion reactor from Rykad Minoris? The reactor remains on Rykad Minoris. Negative deviation from the optimal outcome has been registered. The cumulative completeness of knowledge has been reduced. The Omnisire mourns this loss. It is difficult to catch any intonation in Tetria Lemma's solemn voice, but the binary exclamation that follows seems genuinely sorrowful. Sad ones and zeros. Beep boop. In gratitude for the expansion of our knowledge of archaeotech, the tech clergy of Alta Templum Calixis X-17 is prepared to perform Grade 3 binaric rituals over the machine spirits of your vessel. Genitor Extremis Eogan Febris, a manipulus who has received the benediction of the motive force, will be sent to embark your ship immediately. Omnissiah's blessings. And we actually got faction rep for doing that. Nice. Your ladyship, if I may be so bold as to point out that this learned man possesses a rare combination of skills and is almost certainly proficient in the creation of blessed augments. This is a true boon for the flagship and you personally. Got this one on your wish list on my recommendation. How goes the rogue trading? So I'm being kind of thorough and doing almost everything available to me, and as a result, I am still only in Chapter 2, despite having put over 100 hours into this. Also because I'm also doing the DLCs. What we're doing right now is part of one of the DLCs, actually. But it's going very well. And I have heard there are 5 chapters, and I have heard that Chapter 2 is by far the biggest chapter. So I don't think it's going to take like 500 hours to get through this. A good slow burn? Yes, exactly. I will say the game will probably get tedious if you don't enjoy like really soaking up the setting and the lore and the atmosphere of the world. Because that is really what the game does best, and that's why the slow burn works so well. Abelard lets out a discontented grumble. All the more peculiar, then, that the Adeptus Mechanicus would so readily hand over one of their invaluable brethren to us. It is unlikely that such generosity is motivated solely by magnanimity. Registering the launch of a cargo shuttle on course for our ship. Oh, we're back in the Sector Bionica to meet our new crew member. Look at that! Behold the girth! The girth of the motive force! And also, he apparently has what I believe might be a railgun or something. Well, probably not a railgun, that's a Tau weapon, but the AdMech equivalent thereof. Raising his hand, the tech priest snaps his hand closed, and the sparks of the motive force vanish, almost as if he has caught them in his fist. A corpulent man with a metal abdomen and a bulky carapace, he hovers above the deck like a large crimson beetle. Going to prepare a meal and lurk. Alright, enjoy your meal, Red Rust. Thank you again for the raid. Have a great day, and thank you for lurking. A mature face sits beneath an angular black cap. For a servant of the Adeptus Mechanicus, his visage retains a surprising portion of organic material, and it is set in a dense beard of cables and pistons. Maker's Biogirthus. This game knows how to set the scene. It really does. I love this game. Welcome, Luminoth. Good to see you.
A wise man once said that a machine spirit cannot be looked upon, and he was right. For the Omnissiah in his infinite wisdom has concealed his creation even from the gaze of his most devoted servants. But can the believer come to know the nature of a machine only through an eye of organics or steel? No, for the vapor that brings forth the scent of sacred unguents is the spirit's breath. The rumbling of joints and rods is the beating of its heart, and the motive force is the current of its blood. You are correct, Nuncius. I risk boring the rogue trader with my protracted ruminations. However, I will not allow the semantic analysis of my utterance to go unanswered. I will log your thesis for further debate. Now it is time to make my obeisance. Rogue trader, your halls are filled with sacred metal, and the ship's tech priests must be commended in observing the sacraments of augmentation. That blessed union of flesh and ferrum sanctum. Beholding this charges my galvanic coils with exultation. I, Genitor Extremis Eogun Febris, greet you and thank you for the opportunity to grace these ancient mechanisms with the gift of operation.
You know what? I like him already.
Confirmed. The sacrament of temple relic maintenance has been performed correctly. Protocol for exchange of sacred regalia initiated. Registering the affiliation of this blessed tech unit to the clergy of the Forge World, Sigis 8. Requesting confirmation of the unit's familiarity with the standards of the Catechism of Maintenance and Safety in effect on this vessel.
It is my pleasure to confirm the protocol for the exchange of sacred regalia and greet my brother in...
I could just listen to these guys talk back and forth for like half an hour.
...known to me, and I promise to honor them. I request a meeting with my esteemed colleague to facilitate knowledge exchange and to discuss values.
Who is this wise man who theorized on the nature of the machine spirit? It would be interesting to read his work.
Junior Lex Mechanic Karain, operator of Auxiliary Terminal 289-0 of the lower workshops of Alter Templum Calixus X-17. A pragmatist and a bureaucrat who saw the world solely through the prism of statistics, endless parades of outflows and inflows. He had little interest in anything other than keeping track of valves and vents, but now and then he would drop pearls of wisdom such as these without even noticing it himself. I felt it was my duty to pick them up.
Yes, hard agree, Sandstail. I definitely agree. A compelling display of your abilities. Can you produce energy?
An excellent observation. My technical designation is Manipulus. And here is the galvanic cell, the repository of the motive force. No, that will take too long. Better to give a demonstration. Observe.
I will observe.
Questions?
He stabs a mechadendrite into the augmented arm of a nearby technomat. Power snakes along the manipulous crone claw into his cell. The technomat's vox stutters and rasps, and the implement goes limp. Once certain that you have seen the effect, Eogun sends the power back into the augment and returns it to life. Wow. Someone asked about his hyperfixation and he got so happy. Yes. Intriguing. So your galvanic cell not only stores energy, but also redistributes it to wherever you direct it. And you power it, seemingly, by drawing energy from other sources.
Correct. Entirely correct. Oh, rarely do I meet such astute interlocutors among the laity. I respectfully initiate a request for an audience. I must discover what other gems of knowledge are hiding within your rich mind.
I mean, he's just genuinely pleasant. It's not that I dislike Pascal. I love Pascal. But I also really like this guy. And they're so different. I love it. What does Genitor Extremis mean?
It is my creed. The incontrovertible fact that has defined my existence for as long as I can recall. And I recall a great deal. I have devoted myself to the mysteries of flesh and metal. To the processes by which one joins with the other. By which they live in union and how they die. I am intimately familiar with machines such as the one that I restored to life. I will school the members of the priesthood on board in its litanies of maintenance and operation, and reveal the secrets of the command rooms so they may operate it themselves.
Roughest Tarkov run in a while. Sorry about that, Frag Motor. Did you get out with something, or did you die? Curious how he'd see Necrodermis. Well, here's the thing, Sans. No spoilers for the DLC, but what I do know about the DLC, that this guy is the new character from, is that it does concern the Necrons. Specifically the collection of Trazyn the Infinite. So we might very well get to see his reaction to Necrodermis during the course of this DLC.
The sacrament of Ferrum Sanctum will be made available to you and your retinue. That, too, is an incontrovertible fact.
You speak to your servo skull?
Nuncius is my dearest colleague. His eagerness, inquisitive mind, and ability to view a problem from a variety of angles are invaluable to our research. He is also rather loquacious himself.
Registering a violation. The tech unit Nuncius is ignoring the request for engagement, recommending that the unit's labor be allocated to repair tasks.
Declined with gratitude and due reverence. The tech unit Nuncius is designated as a personal instrument of the quest for the divine, which confers the privilege of privacy. That includes privacy from intrusion by entities of equal standing.
3-man boss group, Knight and his brothers, then into the map. Ishala and his guards, then into the cultists. I don't know Tarkov at all, Brag Motor. I've never played it, but that does sound rough. Sounds like you just kept running into strong enemies one after the other.
Status confirmed. Rejection of request acknowledged as valid.
Seems scarily like potential AI. But there's a human brain in there, and that's why it's not AI. Because as long as there are organic parts, it can be AI without counting as abominable intelligence. That's how they get away with like a lot of their cogitators, their servo skulls, their servitors. And you can argue that's just semantics and technicality. Yeah, but everything hinges on that semantic and technicality.
He's quite the gambler, all right. Maybe the cog-bellied master hears voices in his head too. I'm sure my friends from beyond their door would love to get together with them sometime.
Nobody dialed your number, Idira.
A servo skull? As your colleague? Right. Well then, I'll take a data slate for my adjutant.
I see no colors coming from Nuncius. Is treating servo skulls like living beings some kind of sacred practice among the tech priests?
The blood-spun web also speaks to its departed brothers and sisters. But the answer we receive is the silence granted by the Undying One.
Oh, I can actually ask him if it's an abominable intelligence. Oh shit, a drop? Hold on, let me just see what this is. Also, we have ads about to start. I don't know what these drops are, but I just got 3 drops for Rogue Trader. Anyway, ads are about to start, so I'm gonna go take a quick break, stretch my legs, grab a mouthful of fresh air, and go pee. So don't go anywhere. I will be right back. I am here again. However, ads will be running for another minute, so to spend that time, let me just... Oh no! Dungeon is on cooldown. In that case, I will pillage. Just to pass the time. Yay! No casualties. And then... let's check my power level. That is a pretty pathetic power level. I need to get back in the gym. Oh, that is way stronger. Shield wall block the ads. Nice. But, you know, some people do get the ads, and I want to make sure everyone can follow when we're doing a story game like this. So most of the time I try to not progress the game while the ads are going on. Ooh, a lot of good power levels. However, nobody got higher than nobody got over 9,000, which is possible. All right, ads should be over. Therefore, let us continue the conversation. Nuncius, I welcome you on board my vessel. If the Silver Skull has heard you, it makes no sign of it.
Amazing sincerity, Nuncius. It is gratifying to see that you have not lost your sense of tact over the years.
What did he say?
I fear my rendering will lack the sophistication inherent in Nuncius's lingua technis, but to crudely summarize, he is honored by your attention and records the moment as significant.
Thank you for your help, Egan. Where will you go next?
Your thanks are accepted, but my service is not yet at an end. The clergy of the Alter Templum Calixtus X-17 Cloister, in gratitude for the tidings of the sacred Archaeotech, request that you be attended by Magos Aeogon Febris and the unit Nuncius. I seek your leave to employ our skills and knowledge for the benefit of the Von Valancius dynasty, including but not limited to tending to the machine spirits of the Sector Bionica and conducting experiments in the name of knowledge. In other words, allow Nuncius and I to remain on the ship and accompany you. We are well versed in augmetics, genetics, alchemy, the anatomy of humans, and abominable xenos alike, and the mysteries of the motive force and of sacred engineering. These fields of knowledge may also be employed to eliminate units whose views are not conducive
Agreed.
to
Standstill.
productive debate.
I definitely think that that Nuncio is a brain in a jar. Perhaps even more so than most Servo Skulls. Why do you wish to do this?
It is my sacred duty to stand vigil to ensure the faithful operation of the technology I restored. Beyond that, Alter Templum Calixtus X-17 is an enclosed community. Many wisdoms can be found within its walls, but I seem to have exhausted their supply. Theory lays the foundation for exploration, but only practice can open the gates of knowledge. Nuncius and I have always been practitioners, first and foremost.
Well, welcome aboard, Egan.
Skepticism is undeniably one of the instruments of knowledge, dearest colleague. It guards us against many heresies, preventing ego and vanity from clouding reason on the path of service. But as you see, Nuncius, it is not justified in every circumstance. Rogue Trader, Nuncius states that you are a person of rare perspicacity and prudence. I record this as an incontrovertible fact, and thank you for your hospitality. But of course, I did not come empty-handed. I would like to present you with this augment. Now that the machine spirit of the implantation throne is awake, I can bestow its blessing upon you or one of your retinue, should the Rogue Trader will it.
Pneumatic assault grapple. Okay, let's have a better look at this. Yuna gains the force couple. Deals 1 impact damage and pulls that enemy in. The user has a melee weapon equipped, they then attack that enemy. Feels like he'd enjoy a charcuterie trait. Yeah, he does. Pulls an ally to themselves, or pulls themselves to that ally. So it's a hookshot. It is a fucking Legend of Zelda hookshot. Loses 10 weapon skill. Not see the hookness of it, so it's just no. It's literally installing a grappling hook in their arm. Let us leave Cassia behind. No, let's leave Adira behind and have Aegon on the team. Let's have a look at him before we do anything. Ferrum Sanctum, 5 stacks. For each stack, he suffers more shock damage. Okay, so he is very susceptible to shock damage. Okay. The struggle to not double up on tech priests every excursion. Right? I mean, he's pathetic at tech use compared to Pascal. And he actually also has less Medicaid than Pascal. Because Pascal is a fucking beast. Right, features. Heir of Authority. Oh, he's an officer. Okay, he has Take Aim. Maybe you can level him up to be better than Pascal? Possibly. I mean, he is only level 15, so... Ferrum Sanctum, just his big-ass metal belly? Could be. He has Voice of Command, he has Bring It Down, he has Finest Hour... Galvanic Field. This provokes attack of opportunity. Aegon grants the effects of Galvanic Field to an ally within 7 cells. The ally becomes immune to his attacks. Some types of which will always ricochet to random enemies. Well, that would pair immensely well with an arc rifle. Magna Rail Blast. Selects the main target and 2 cells within a 4-cell radius around it. All creatures in those cells and in the cells between them and the main target become additional targets. Aegon unleashes an energy bolt, dealing 20 shock damage to the main target. Then lightning bolts from the main target deal the same amount of damage to these additional targets. The target suffers 10 times the number of potential energy stacks more damage. Additional targets suffer half this damage. Damage dealt to the same creature is reduced by 50%. And then he removes all his potential energy stacks. So how does he get potential energy? One action point, 0 action point. Wait, Galvanic Field is 0 action points? Oh my god, that is so good. Could it bounce the plasma overcharge square? From the Magna Rail Blast, do you mean? Or do you mean from the AoE attack of a plasma weapon? Because I don't know. Probably. It says they become immune to all his attacks. And some of them will ricochet. But here's the thing. Right now, I don't know any more than you do. Alright. Lasting impression. Half the bonus. Oh, nice. Decisive response. The first voice of command or bring it down is one cheaper. Air of authority. Seal resolve. Focus. Take aim. Inspiring speech. Finest hour. Upgrade to 1 and 4. Sweet. Calculated relations. Can use persuasion, coercion, and commerce based on intelligence instead of... He is a plasma weapon expert. He is a melter weapon and plasma weapon proficiency. Some skill bonuses. Instant control. Ooh, very nice. Exact prediction. Oh, that is really good. I think I need him to be my my signal officer. Creature gains +1 deflection, less armor. He's from a forge. Well, forged for a purpose. Built-in armor. Bonus dodge. Extra crit chance. Manipulous. Officer, finest hour.
Ear gun. Why are you heretical?
Suspicious. It is an AI skull! Potentially. For every action point spent, he gains 1 potential energy and use them to activate his unique abilities. Belisarius called it. No, you, Belisarius, called it. So what are you equipped with? Plasma gun. Oh, so the the Magna Rail thing is just something he has in addition to his weapon. Interesting. Has an Omniscient axe and a plasma gun. Let's see if we can do any better. Give you that instead. Which might only be a pistol, but no, it is. It's two-handed. Just looks smaller, but that is so much more damage. Type. It's just a regular Omniscient axe, but then we have the Sea Delphin pattern. That is way better. Okay, he can't wear armor. He has his built-in armor. That's what he gets. Fair enough. Okay, what do we want to give him for a helmet? Sure, let's give him that. Give him a bonus to logic. Give him sniper gloves. Go ahead, Sans. Let's give him the combi tool. Fitting with the Sea Delphimax for the Heretic when Delphin was... You know what? Good point. Good point. I forgot that the Sea Delphin pattern, Sea Delphin was actually the manufacturer general of Kiava Gamma. Very appropriate. Do I have anything for this slot? I don't think I do. Not something he can wear anyway. Who do I want to give the Melter Scorching Shot to, by the way? I think I want to do... No, I have plenty to spend my action points on. I actually might want to give it to... Well, he already has the needle ring. Give it to him. Give him some extra firepower. And then for some grenades, let's give him a frag, a firebomb, a medkit, and a crack grenade. He also doesn't get boots, funnily enough. Alright, let's get to leveling this guy up. This will take a while. So, to libate myself. Cheers. Oh, straight from the fridge. That's so nice and cool. What do we want him to be? So Master Tactician is what our main character is. Grand Strategist is what Jai is. And Overseer is what Cassia is. I kind of feel like I want to make him less focused on his command abilities, so I'm thinking of making him a Vanguard. Yeah, let's do that. Fuck it. Let's see. All right. Does Overseer gets a Servo Skull? Has to be the I can. You know what? I would definitely have done that if I didn't already make Cassia into an Overseer with a Servo Skull. Let's do that. Common talent. Let's do that. Choose talent. Let's do that. Yielding God. Oh right, that's a heroic thing. Additional action point. What's his toughness like? It's not amazing. He could really do with some more toughness. And toughness. Talent. Let's do that. Let's not do provocation. Oh, let's do force distraction, even though Abelard already has it. Seems really good. Let's make you better at tech use. Let's do center of attention. That'll pair really well with the forced distraction I gave him. Common talent. Let's take Pinnacle of Weaponry. Take more toughness. Do Persistence of the Forge. Ooh, yeah, Words of Endurance. Choose skill. It's already at 107. Let's give him some Medicaid. Now, let's give him Fellowship. No, let's give him Ballistic Skill. Special ability for Unyielding Guard. Let's do this one, I think. Whose talent? Yeah, let's make it so everyone else can use him as cover. Let's get tech use. Let's get 5 more ballistic skill. Oh, actually, I didn't see I had manipulous abilities here. Ooh, charge distribution. Ooh. Let's do Galvanic Gate instead. And then here, let's do charge distribution. Steel of the Forged. Yeah, wait, that doesn't work. Oh, there are manipulous talents as well. Hold on. What? Okay, that seems insane. Let's do Galvanic Reaction instead. Instead of Center of Attention. Let's do that one. Instead of this one. Let's do electroconvulsive therapy. That one is potential difference. That one is galvanic reaction, and then here. Ooh, yes. Get that. Characteristic. Should we get some more toughness? Get some more toughness. Choose skill. Let us get more Medicae. There we go. He's been leveled up. He is now a vanguard, but really he is just mostly specialized into his being a tech priest manipulus, more than anything else. I am looking forward to using him in battle. Augmentation directly modifies the character's body. In contrast to equipping gear, installing an augment is permanent. An augment cannot be unequipped and can be replaced only with another augment. If removed, it is replaced with a basic augment. The original body part cannot be restored. There are several ways to install an augment. You can use the implantation throne, speak to the high factotum on the ship's bridge, or open the augmentation menu on the rightmost part of the Coronis Expanse map. To install an augment, drag it to the corresponding insertion on the character diagram and click Install. Positive, negative. Each augment provides unique active and passive bonuses, but always applies an unavoidable negative effect. When the character suffers a trauma, the installed augment malfunctions. Positive, passive effect are disabled until it's healed. Negative effects remain. Makes sense. Installing grants stacks of the Ferrum Sanctum effect. Okay, so they get more susceptible to shock damage the more augments you install. That makes sense to me. 6 augmentation, optical, cortical, somatic, 2 arms, and 1 musculoskeletal in the legs. Some companions possess unique augments that can be replaced, but other characters cannot install them. Cassia, Space Marine companions, and Xenos companions cannot install augments. And this is the only augment I have right now. I kind of want to give this to Abelard, honestly. Oh, look at that. He already has Seneschal's Monocular. 5 more damage for each ally within 3, but 10 less. Oh! So he doesn't want to run off on his own anymore. He doesn't have any. He probably has a bunch. Yeah. Okay, and Synaptic. Why can he not install that? Because he's a tech priest, I'm assuming? She can. He probably can't. Yeah, here it is. Armor is increased by 20%, deflection increased by 2, but he cannot equip armor. Dextral Magna Rail Lance for Magna Rail Blast. Cannot suffer a crippled right arm. Interesting. Miasma Purification Conduit. Can now gain potential energy. Oh, right. Doesn't have any... Oh, wait, she does. Cranial insertion. Grey Hood. Whenever perils of the warp are triggered because of Adira's actions, there is a 42% chance they are not triggered. However, if she is affected by horrors of the warp, it instead becomes terrors of the warp. She has cervical node. Positive effects. Some might say it is foolish to spend a fortune on a mere neck implant. Jai Hidari would counter that wearing a mere neck implant while being the Princess of Ifrit is simply beneath her dignity. Negative effects. The implant functions flawlessly. From what I can tell, it doesn't do anything. And she has a left arm, the hand that feeds. She gains the served cold ability. However, when she uses served cold, she must pass a toughness test or suffer a stack of fatigue. What does served cold do? Damage dealt by this ability and its armor penetration are increased by 32% for each extra turn granted to an ally. Okay. So it's like an attack? Let's see. This is specifically a Sinistral insertion. And he has a Master Link visor. Nice. Alright. So I want to put this grappling hook arm in one of my melee characters. And I think it's going to be Abelard just because he's the melee character I use the most. Still has his shield. Alright, we just cut off Abelard's arm and replaced it with a robot arm. I hope he doesn't mind. Well, that was fun. Now, I feel like talking to these two fellas again and getting their opinion on Eogan. Let us praise the machine god. What brings you to the Sector Bionica, Lord Captain? Just say the word and we'll fix any problem. What do you think of our new equipment, Martinex? The Vivisector's eyes shine with excitement. It's incredible, Lord Captain. The lighting, the instrumentation. The servants of the Altar Templum have awakened every sacred machine and granted us incense mixtures to dull pain. We will have fewer deaths from shock, all procedures will be completed in less time. Our work will advance to a new, unprecedented level. This is the best thing that has happened to the Sector Bionica in many decades.
This ocular implant was a worthwhile investment.
Ooh, goods. Grab. Grab the loot, shove it up inside your boot. Let's see what the janitor has to say. Greetings. Have you come for fault correction? Finally give some meaning to the fact Abelard keeps mentioning his optical implant. Yeah, I mean, he's been mentioning that the whole game, but it's just been cosmetic until now where it actually does something. What do you think of our new equipment, Ferris? The dry hiss that normally comes from the janitor's vox suddenly becomes higher, registering an unprecedented increase in the functional efficiency of the machine spirits. Rivers of sacred unguents wash over the iron flesh, and the mechanisms sing the praises of the Omnissiah. Bless the decision that led to this miracle of rebirth. Alright. Now, what? Just want to check. I think it's time we go past Dargonas and take care of the blackmail going on there. And then we head up to fill out these last two quests. Find the Eldari cache in Last Chance of Cyrene and have the showdown with Marajai. Bridge, please. Actually, before we go anywhere, if Aegon is here on the bridge, I want to speak to him. He is down there. So that's down here. No. I am so bad at this. Oh, it's down here. You should be down here. Haha! Let's have a chat with the good man.
Magos biologus Eurystheus octo rebido declaimed. Every organism naturally born, flesh from flesh, knows fear. But the supreme terror of an organic organism is invariably evoked by the threat of annihilation. I have pondered this a great deal. Do death and terror define our existence from the very beginning? Like a kind of fate, a raised blade since our conception that governs our lives. Rogue Trader, do you fear death?
I like that he feels like a priest. Like a lot of Adeptus Mechanicus people feel like mad scientists, but this guy actually feels like a priest. He really stresses the priest in Tech Priest. Nuncius, his countenance a reminder of the inevitable end, stares at you with his empty eye sockets. There's nothing to fear in death if you have lived a worthy life.
For it is what spurs us to do the things that give life meaning and dignity. You are a brave woman, Rogue Trader. Thank you for indulging my curiosity. Now it is your turn to select the topic of conversation.
Oh man, I want to know all of this. Kibella has acquired a skull companion of her own. Do you think he and Nuncius will get along?
That mutant skull that Mistress Cabela has chosen to establish familiar relations with is a crude anatomical aid, and nothing more. I suppose her conversations can be characterized as a primitive means of meditation, where the individual projects her state of mind and thoughts onto some inanimate object, and thereby achieves a certain degree.
Yeah, it's rubber duck debugging.
Nuncius, by contrast, contains a machine spirit, which we know every creation of the Omnissiah to possess. And he also happens to be a highly erudite and complex construct.
Fair enough. The erudite and complex construct ought not to comment on your witty remark. I would like to learn more about you.
But can anyone truly know the essence of another person? For a veil of words often shrouds meaning that cannot be discovered in one brief conversation. Then again, all the greatest works on human nature began with scant material. Ask your questions, rogue trader.
Where do you hail from?
Stygius 8 is a forge world located on one of the moons of a gas giant in the binary star system of Vulcanus. A magnificent place. Stretching from horizon to horizon, mighty manufactorums crisscross the moon's surface, producing armaments and equipment. For the armies of the Segmentum Solar, the designs and patterns we produce are unequaled in the galaxy. The huge titans of the Legio Honorum tower over cohorts of Skitarii, making ready to escort countless expeditions, ravenous for knowledge and lost technology. And beneath them, deep within the moon itself, lies a labyrinth of archives and laboratories, where many sages cultivate knowledge and conduct experiments in the name of understanding the will of the machine god. Nuncius and I spent our adolescence and part of our adulthood there, before we were permitted to leave our cells for the cabins of expedition ships and the tents of field camps. I miss my home, but I do not regret leaving it, for stagnation is the enemy of knowledge.
I agree, Sans. Why do you wear black robes? Don't all tech priests wear red?
No, not all. The robes of tech priests often vary from world to world. They're imbued with symbolism that reflects the principles of a particular branch of the tech priesthood. Red is the color of Mars. It is present in the robes of each world as an homage to the red planet. White symbolizes the purity of machines and sacred augmetics.
And black?
One is compelled to carry a certain stigma living on Stygius 8. Certain theological disputes often lead to conflict with our fellow clergy. Black symbolizes our guardedness and otherness, while with red we emphasize the purity
so that's why he's
of our
heretic.
faith in the Omnissiah and our fellowship with the rest of the cult Mechanicus.
What is this theological dispute you have with the other tech priests?
The tech priests of Stygius 8 are most dogged in their acquisition of samples of xenotechnology. Under our doctrine, any methods used to gain an advantage over the enemies of humanity are justified, so long as they do not cross.
Oh, so they're all heretics. Got it.
As you may have guessed, where exactly that line lies,
I suppose he'll get along swimmingly with Jai.
And discord for centuries.
Less so with Heinrichs. Yeah, if he were an Inquisitor, he would be classified as a radical.
This means that we
As
are
would his
often
entire Forge
compelled
world, I
to
guess.
ensure a certain level of secrecy in our work, which only increases suspicions about our world. But for the sake of the Imperium's victory, we are prepared to live with this stigma. That is an incontrovertible fact.
Tell me about your research. What is it you're trying to understand?
I have dedicated my life to many questions. The blessings of the fusion of organics and machines, the search for virtue in their separate existence, the possibility of prolonging the functioning of flesh through genetics and alchemy. The machine god is perfect in all his manifestations. This is the truth and an incontrovertible
He really
fact.
likes to say incontrovertible
It
fact.
seems to me that attempts to become like him exclusively through augmetics, though good in their righteousness, do not fully reflect his design. For the organic body is nothing but a biological machine whose components can be replaced and improved by genetic transmutation.
Only reason this plan is still a thing is because the right Inquisitor. That may be it. It might also just be that as one of the primary Forge worlds, it's so powerful that losing it would be too much of a blow. So it's like, we kind of want to condemn this Forge world, but also we really need what it produces. So therefore we're just going to hold our nose, pinch our nose, and and suffer through it. I'm expecting it's probably like some kind of middle ground between those two.
I believe the truth lies somewhere between these two paths, and both lead to my ultimate goal, my magnum opus, to challenge death itself as a phenomenon, bringing humanity closer to the eternity of the Omnissiah.
What did you do before you arrived on Alter Templum Calix's X7?
I may not look it, but I am a wanderer and a pilgrim. Nuncius and I have led research expeditions with the aim of finding relics and artifacts and advancing the quest for knowledge. I have also endeavored to learn from my colleagues at every opportunity, developing my expertise in genetics, hermetics, and augmetics. We have visited more than one world, voyaged on more than one ship, and got our hands dirty more than once, both literally and figuratively.
What was it like living on that station?
Many secrets lie within that blessed temple fortress. I spent decades there, but still I am not certain that I discovered all of them. However, the station's clergy are not known for their insularity for nothing. They are quite reluctant to make contact with the laity, or even other tech priests. Nuncius and I were lucky that our skills were in demand, and we were able to ensconce ourselves in that fountain of wisdom. Alas, the doctrine of isolation and the intransigence of several colleagues had brought my research to a standstill, and so I seized the opportunity to join your retinue.
You detect a certain longing in Irgun's gaze, nostalgia for his time spent on the station. But I failed my awareness test! Oh no! Because it was a really difficult one! I'll live. Wait, Pascal was also serving on that station back then. You two weren't acquainted?
The Omnissiah's providence did not bring us together. The temple is quite vast, and it is no surprise that two learned men never once crossed paths. After all, each of us is blessed with our own function, and fulfilling that function is a solitary effort. Really? My dearest colleague states that Magos Naaman and I once passed each other in Service Conduit 91-R. The esteemed Magos chided me for some minor neglect in the presentation of my augments, after which, having each voiced our opinions, we parted ways. It seems I considered this event to be inconsequential, and it has escaped my memory.
Alright, my curiosity has been satisfied.
As has mine. Questions can reveal more about the asker than anything they may say about themselves.
Like him, but he's heretical and totally not AI skull, makes you look at things like he leaves details. So it makes you suspicious of him. Fair enough. Your speech differs from that of other tech priests. It's less mechanistic.
To think that all tech priests speak exclusively like machines is a widespread misconception among the laity. We may strive to draw closer to the machine god, but we remain part of the human race. How exactly a tech priest achieves this oneness is the choice of each individual ordained in the priesthood of Mars, depending largely on personal characteristics, practical considerations, and interpretations of the tenets of the faith. Of course, many attune their language to machine cant or even prefer not to use flesh speak at all. It is then easier for them to make contact with machine spirits. For myself, however, a key aspect of the machine god is his omniscience. I gather wisdom, and that includes from communicating with laypersons. To this end, standard low Gothic has so far proved to be the most useful. However, this does not negate the fact that I am able to speak all the binaric dialects of Mars, if circumstances so demand.
I wish to know more about augments.
I can only encourage such a thirst for knowledge. Ask away.
What is the Adeptus Mechanicus view on augmentations among the laity?
A difficult question, and thus an interesting one. From the perspective of the cult Mechanicus, augmentation is an unalloyed good. Flesh is weak, and replacing it brings us closer to the Omnissiah. But this good is also a supreme privilege. Every augmetic is a man-made miracle that glorifies the machine god. And not every layperson is worthy of such a blessing. The majority of laypersons who have lost limbs or organs are at best furnished with the most rudimentary prosthetics, if any at all. The exceptions are those who hold key posts in the Imperium, or who cannot perform their duties without replacing their organics with more efficient equivalents. And naturally, there are exceptional individuals, such as rogue traders, who can afford the best augments at the wave of their hand. Or rather, it's lost. Just think about it. You are one of untold billions, and you succeeded in becoming a statistical improbability. How could one perceive anything in these metaphysical mathematics but the design of the machine god?
What augments do you have?
I have a great many of them, and most possess rather esoteric functions that are difficult to explain to a layperson. The most obvious is the galvanic cell. My hull is quite heavy, so it is supported by a gravitic core, mechadendrites, of course, an alembic with an alchemical synthesizer, auxiliary cogitators, and...
He's getting more and more excited as he talks about it. I love it. Kind of moves like Harkonnen from Doom. Yeah.
My dearest colleague suggests that my answer is becoming tiresome. If you are curious, I would be pleased to attempt to compose a treatise on my construction, but the more difficult task will be to give it a form comprehensible to a layperson.
Hypothetically, if a lumen burned out in my chambers, could your galvanic cell revive it?
With a suitable source of motive force to redistribute, I could light up the lumens of an entire deck, rogue trader. However, I do hope that is not the only application you will find for my talents.
Isn't your face rather too organic? Most tech priests have more implants.
If my physiognomy offends you, there is no need to hide it behind feigned interest. However, I will answer on the hypothesis that your question is sincere. My face looks as it does because that is how I prefer it.
I respect it.
A Vox grill is practical, but there is something about speaking my thoughts aloud via an organic vocal apparatus. Consider it my little extravagance. Besides, appearances are deceiving. My internals have been extensively augmented, and
I really like this guy. He's really well written and really well voice acted and just altogether likable.
My dearest colleague amply meets all other communication needs.
Fascinating. I'm curious about your dear colleague, Nuncius.
My dearest colleague is incredibly flattered by the attention. Please, ask your questions.
What is he?
He is my dearest colleague and indispensable assistant.
But a servo skull is incapable of complex thought. How can he be your colleague?
A superb question. It is quite difficult to explain to a layperson, but I will try. To put it quite crudely, Nuncius helps me to think. He constitutes an exceptionally complex network of algorithms that augment my own. They contain conflicting points of view that seek out flaws in my reasoning, and information that is more useful to me if it is not kept in my own head. So I delegate it to him. He is wholly unique.
How long have you two been together?
We have shared a cell since our novitiate on Styges 8. 138 planetary cycles and 72 days have elapsed since then. It may not be accurate in a temporal sense, but you could say we have been together my whole life.
You can be honest with me. Is Nuncius an abominable intelligence?
Are you truly asking me if I have violated one of the Omnissiah's core commandments as blithely as if you were asking to borrow my stylus? No. 1,000 times no. How could such a thing even be wrought from a single servo skull? A wicked mind of that caliber would require a receptacle of significant cogitational potential. I am deeply outraged by this insinuation, and simultaneously flattered by your assessment of my skills. My dearest colleague asks me to convey that he does not share my strong emotions, and humbly apologizes for this outburst. He also swears before the machine god that he was created according to all the canons of sacred engineering, and that he is not a sacrilegious perversion of his design.
Alright, let's try speaking to Nuncius.
I will take it upon myself to interpret his words, but I beg your pardon in advance for falling far short of my dearest colleague in terms of rhetorical elegance.
Can you understand me?
Yes.
Why are you always silent?
Your presumption is incorrect. Nuncius is really rather chatty, and holds strong views on every conceivable topic, which he does not hesitate to express at the first opportunity. Alas, you, as a layperson, are unable to hear his fiery declarations and witty remarks. Nuncius categorizes this fact as regrettable.
What is your opinion of Eogan?
Yes, Nuncius, I will relay it verbatim. He says that I possess a remarkable mind and excellent practical skills, but my excitability, especially combined with my stubbornness to the point of ossification, would have stunted my development were it not for his thoughtful advice and fair criticism.
I'm not sure. But this might be my new favorite character in this game. I really, really like this guy.
He also adds that the thought of working with anyone other than me evokes repulsion and outrage in him. The value coefficient of our relationship is extremely high in his catalogue.
Alright. Once again, we have ads about to start, so I will take a short break, go use the bathroom, and I will be back in just a couple of minutes, so don't go anywhere. We are back. The tendency to really, really like the almost explicitly autistic jolly old man is shared. Right. I find him heartwarming, charming, relatable, and funny. He's just a really good character. I kind of want to play a character that's based on him for like D&D or some other tabletop role-playing game. Anyway, ads are over. Let's get back into the conversation. Admit it, Nuncius. You're really the clever one in this partnership, aren't you?
Nuncius, what an appalling thing to say. Our partnership is perfectly equal. Keep your mischief-making to yourself, and don't mislead the rogue trader.
How many times a day does Aegon say this is an incontrovertible fact?
That cannot be right. That often? Yes, Nuncius, I would be obliged if you would assist in monitoring my vocabulary. But watch that superior tone of yours, please.
Thank you for the conversation, Nuncius.
Nuncius states that this conversation has stimulated and enriched him.
Well, that is all I wish to ask.
Nuncius says that he will leave a channel for inquiries about his biography and personal qualities open for you, rogue trader.
Now, you mentioned that you have knowledge of Xenos.
The rank of Genitor grants me the right to study their foul anatomy and behavior for the purposes of identifying their weaknesses. I have personally dissected more than one specimen, and have even preserved specific body parts for further investigation. I research and study their technology to the same end. There is no shame in using our enemies' weapons against them, no matter what some narrow-minded colleagues may say.
I really don't think Heinrichs would agree. I really think you two might have a bit of a spat.
I mean, that is in line with what he told us about Stygius 8. What kind of Xenos do you study?
The mythical kind, shall we say. The subject of my research is an ancient, unusually advanced xeno-civilization. Some among the tech clergy call them Niflhimics, believing them to be the first creations of the Omnissiah. Others call them iron anathemas, considering them to be the spawn of abominable intelligence. But the initiated know them as Necrons. And believe me, the hand of the machine god has never touched these monstrous creatures.
Oh, he has a PhD in Necrons. Interesting.
After more than 1 decade of searching, I have amassed a modest collection of objects that belonged to these Necrons. But I have never succeeded in understanding the purpose of most of them. Many believe that Necrons died out long ago, leaving behind only ruins of black rock. But I do not believe so. They exist still, and they are closer than they seem.
You have heard from drunken voidfarers dread tales and speculations about metal creatures that do not know death. None of these stories ever sounded plausible, let alone convincing. Why do you believe they're alive?
I have encountered inconsistencies in my research. Ghost colonies with fresh tracks that match the descriptions of these Xenos from various sources. Adeptus Mechanicus expeditions that plunged into obsidian ruins, never to return. Gaps in the knowledge repositories of individual worlds, as if someone had been trying to hide information in isolation. All these are unexplained coincidences. But if I analyze the cumulative frequency of the events and the systems in which they occurred, and compare them to the few things I do know, I can detect certain patterns. The ancient Xenos are exhibiting activity.
This sounds like baseless speculation at best, and dreams passed off as reality at worst. What objects do you have in your collection?
That's the beauty of it? I don't know. Allow me to specify. It includes objects of mostly regular forms, cubes, spheres, cylinders, made of unknown black stone or metal. Many are covered in glyphs or patterns that cannot be deciphered. Fascinating trinkets that I have spent years studying, but have never progressed beyond flimsy theories that cannot be confirmed experimentally.
Alright, let's see what Nittler has to say. Plane jump. Need some help again. Do you want my honest opinion, Nittler? Two separate tables. When they fumble, you roll on a table that is mostly neutral with a few negative and the chance of plane jumping. When they crit, they roll on a table that is mostly neutral with a few positive buffs and a chance to plane jump. So the tables are both an added effect of crits or fumbles, but also a plane jump trigger. That's my opinion. It's twice the work for you, but I think you'll be happy with the result.
Perhaps my approach is fundamentally flawed, or the objects are non-functional. Or perhaps they simply do not want anyone to root out their secrets. It's a mystery. A stimulating mystery.
Alright, let's talk about something else.
Seeing what new topic of discussion you propose.
You wish to debate. Let's begin with something simple. What is the meaning of life?
Splendid. It has been a long time since I last had a worthy opponent. Not including my dearest colleague, of course. So, to the topic. I have never understood why some thinkers present this question as something profound, when the answer is utterly trivial. The meaning of life is determined by a person's position in the hierarchy of the Imperium and where he or she is deployed. But ultimately, what it comes down to is supporting the functioning of the system.
That is such an Imperial answer. The meaning of life is to do your duty. That is so Imperial. Yo, Wheels! Nice of you to roll on in. How you doing? Good to see you. Nittler, can you hit up Wheels here with a shout out?
The worker produces or processes a resource. The soldier destroys enemies. The governor ensures order and the shipment of tithes. The meaning of my life is to advance the quest for knowledge, thus fulfilling the function granted to me by the Omnissiah. As I said, an utterly unoriginal question.
How's Valorant going, Wheels of Honor? Are you getting good at it? How are we doing? I am doing well. Heat is getting to me a little bit. We have a heat wave here right now, and I am not good with heat. But other than that, I'm great. Nuncius, do you agree with Aegon?
My dearest colleague has accused me of oversimplifying matters. He believes that in trying to convey my point of view, I neglected
Stay hydrated. I am.
set forth in the question.
I have this thing filled with ice water.
Try to answer myself. But he considers the general premise to be correct, albeit riddled with holes.
Do you truly believe the meaning of existence can be reduced to one's function?
Absolutely. You may perceive that as a cynical view, but I am merely cutting away all that is superfluous. Humans are not simple creatures. I could regale you for hours with the nuances of the structure of the body and consciousness, and cite theosophical and philosophical musings, but it makes no difference. As long as a person fulfills their function, their life has meaning.
So what is my function and the meaning of my life?
You are the quintessence of the will of the Imperium. Your purpose in life is to expand it and strengthen its power where other subjects cannot reach. You do not explore the frontier. You are the frontier.
I disagree. I say a person chooses what they live for.
Only a rogue trader would make such a claim. Do you really think that your unique position as the Emperor's anointed, which grants you unheard of liberties, translates so easily to the rest of us?
A worker who perfectly fulfills his function may believe that the meaning of his life is to provide for his family. That is for him alone to decide.
Curiously enough, you and I are at odds on the difference between the particular and the general. I consider the meaning of life as a global concept within the framework of society, while you took the individual as your starting point. But how these two concepts...
Alright, fair enough. We were arguing from different frameworks.
I thank you for the interesting discussion, rogue trader.
Alright, I must take my leave.
I find our conversation stimulating, and I will look forward to your next visit.
Damn it, I think he might be my new favorite character. I really like him. I mean, to be fair, even my least favorite character in this game, I still really like. I like all the characters. Anyway, we basically haven't done anything. We've just gotten drunk and talked to some people so far. Oh, and chopped off Abelard's arm. But let's actually go do some adventuring. So far. True. I am still only in chapter 2, so there might still be much to experience. Alright, so I want to go to Dagonis and deal with the issue there, which is... Dagonis is up here, right? Mundus Valentius holds Dagonis. So what is the shortest amount of jumps to get to Dagonis? Could I just... Oh, I could just plot a course directly all the way from Furibundus to Dagonis. I don't think that's worth it, though. Is that worth it? No, I don't think I have enough enough insight to make that worth it. So like here. So that's still like only what, 4, 5? 1, 2, 3. It's only 4 jumps. It'll be fine. And they're all yellow. The enforcers from different decks of the Von Valancius vessel report a terrifying sight. Oh, it's this one again. Skin of some crew members have become translucent, revealing knots of muscle and blood vessels beneath. Worse yet, small spider-like insects were seen scurrying inside of them, snow white and sparkling like ice. The transformed could not see this phenomenon in themselves or anyone else, only occasionally complaining about a prickly feeling in their extremities. Some were branded as mutants and killed. The survivors reverted back after the vessel emerged in real space. Oh? What's this now? Lord Captain, emergency report. The augurs have detected several void ships slowly encircling us.
Our request for this pursuit to cease have been completely ignored, but an unmanned vessel has been dispatched in our direction, broadcasting only 2 words: Gift and Haydari.
Exalted Ones, incinerate these void jackals. What does it mean? Jay's agitated voice comes on the Vox channel. Shireen, this whole thing stinks worse than a dead Grox, and it's also eerily similar to how Kasbalican agents operate. With your permission, I would like to see what kind of gift those tight-lipped ashmags has sent me. Yo, Grim, good to see you. I have been pretty good. The heat is definitely getting to me. I am definitely suffering in this summer heat wave, but other than that, I'm good. Definitely feeling a lot better than I was over the weekend. How about you? How you doing, man? It's great to see you. Are you... No, you must be working right now. It is way too early for you to be getting off work, right? You must be working right now. The Voxmaster patiently awaits your instructions, flipping switches and occasionally emitting a crackling static from her integrated Vox system. What ships are they?
A frigate and 4 raiders, Lord Captain. No identifying marks, so they're probably pirates. Although the Augur Master reports that they are well coordinated, more so than your typical void rabble.
I wish to contact the Pursuer's flagship.
Apologies, Lord Captain. Our attempted calls to the unknown Pursuer's ships are being automatically relayed to the beacon on the pilotless vessel.
Alright, order the Voidborn to bring the package aboard.
It will be done, Lord Captain. A shuttle carrying a retrieval team and bomb disposal specialists is already en route.
Sorry to hear that. So over the heat tube, ready for fall and winter. I feel like spring... I'm like a middle-of-the-road guy. Spring and autumn is where I really prefer being. Several tense hours go by. All the while, Jai Haydari paces back and forth across the captain's bridge. But at the first shriek of the sirens announcing the shuttle's return, she rushes down to the lower decks. Gorn! No! Jai's outburst blares from the comm bead, momentarily deafening you and a third of the officers on the bridge listening on the Vox channel. No, no, no! Why would the Exalted One doom so kind-hearted a person to such a fate? What void beast has done this to you? The Voxcaster picks up a quiet sob, the whining screech of an augment on the bulkhead panels, the crunching of metal fingers, and Jai cuts the Vox connection.
Lord Captain, the returning Voidborn report that the package for Jai Haydari was the head of a young man.
Victus types swiftly at the cogitator keys.
According to our archives, he was a member of her trade network on Footfall. The deceased is Trickster Core, one of the Trickster twins who engage in suspect commercial activity on the station's asteroids with Mistress Haydari.
Static comes over the line, the sirens blare again, and the Voxmaster turns to you.
We have finally been alerted to an incoming Vox transmission. My officers are standing by to connect you to the unidentified parties.
Load the artillery and allow the ships to draw closer, then connect me.
It will be done, Lord Captain.
A minute later, the Vox line crackles with static, followed by a rough, drunken voice. Well, I'll be. It's Her Ladiness Rogue Trader von Throne Damned Phalancius. I humbly tug me forelock to you, milady. We mean no offense. Our convoy is but a mark of respect for your holy self. You wouldn't have stopped to talk to us, would you, if you haven't given your officers a good scare, eh? Oh, where are my manners? I forgot to introduce myself. Toto the Vulture at your most noble service. Who you are makes no difference to me. Why were you pursuing my vessel? Escorting, your fond Valanciousness. We were escorting you. I'm an envoy, you see. I come to you with a special mission.
A little bird told my boss that you've got rats on your ship. Well, we're the best rat catchers this side of the maw, your trader ship. And we're ready to take that problem right off your hands. All you have to do is put Jay Hidari on a pod and send her straight to the coordinates we'll give you. My boss has been after her a while, and he's generous to those who help him. You're no vulture, Toto. You're the worst kind of ashmag. A voice just as rough as Toto the Vulture's bursts onto the Vox channel. Tell me, you son of a grox and a void jackal, who sent you? Should make his voice acting with a Scottish accent. Well, generally when I voice act the companion characters, I do my best to try and mimic their official voice acting. I don't do a very good job, but that's what I aim for. So the reason I talk like this when Jai Hidari, when I am reading her dialogue, is because I feel like that's what the actual voice actor, that's how she talks when she's voiced. And the critters run right into the trap. I'm afraid I can't reveal his name. I am not gonna pay him off. What can your boss offer me? Shireen, are you serious? The best weapons, supplies of rare artifacts, trading sites across the expanse, gratitude? Take your pick. That's it? How terribly dull. Taliman, alert all stations. Prepare to engage. So the answer's no then? Ah, that's probably for the best, your ladiness. I make a bad negotiator, but a damn fine pirate. Before the Vox transmission cuts off, you hear a rasping shout. Falco says hello, Jay Hidari, and screw you. Well, I got some upgrades for my ship, and it's time for me to use them. I feel like a big part of my experience of this game is always I'm trying to go a place to do a thing, and then other stuff pops up and gets in the way. Alright, so 4 Vipers and a frigate. What was the frigate? A sword. No, that's mine. Viper. A Falcon class frigate. Thank you. Ooh, opening up their right side. Good job. Heartless, no! Don't park yourself right in front of their fucking torpedoes! Oh my god. Oh, I swear sometimes the captain of the Heartless is... I swear sometimes he's drunk. Getting hot over here. 29 Celsius. Telling you to stay inside and play games. It's not that hot here, but it is still too hot for me. Let me just look up. What do we got? It actually says we only have 20 degrees here right now. It certainly feels like more. Probably because we have 67% humidity. Where are you from, Red Rust? You probably already told me and I just forgot. In which case, I am sorry. I have bad memory. This is really gonna hurt.
An opportunity to exploit.
They are already getting ready to disengage. So then we Godsbane them. And hopefully that will also destroy the torpedoes. Thus saving the Heartless. Beautiful. So where are these fuckers? There. Wait, there's only 2 left. I thought it said 4 destroyers. And a frigate. But I guess 2 of them didn't join the fight. Currently somewhere in the middle of the US. Fair enough. I will move as short as I can. And just sit here. Let them come close. But before... let us launch some bombers.
Lay in the course.
That is not what I meant to do. That is what I meant to do. Alright, turn. Now the bombers. Ooh, that should get me in range. Plasma bomb strike! Yeah, come up on my right side. Oh, that's really gonna hurt. Changing course to disengage. I'm not gonna let a single one of these disengage if I can help it. I want to kill and salvage every last one of them. So I can't reach here. However, if I activate Arc Augury, then this will be able to reach.
This one's going down. Bleed them.
Got an energy core, some ancient machinery, and 84 scrap. They messed with the wrong rogue trader. Request for Augmetis installation accepted. Omnissiah. But I don't have any. He has 2 stacks of Ferrum Sanctum now. He has 4. She has none. He has 5. He has 1. 0. 0. She has 2. And he has also 2. Oh, I missed that. Band of Penance. What is Forceful Pledge? Oh my god, he can grab someone and use them as cover? Oh, that's awesome! Love that. Oh, hold on. Our ship leveled up. Maximum overdrive. Premonition. Focused efforts. Shallow jump and warp wave. I don't really want any of these. I feel like I already have. I'm gonna get focused efforts. And I'm going to get maximum overdrive in case I need to move further. And then for posts, I did want to consider for my Master of Etherics. He's not that good at it though. So hold on. Supreme Commander
online.
Requires persuasion.
Sensors online.
Definitely going to be
Weapons
me.
online. All systems nominal.
Yeah, you're not welcome. Master Cannoneer. Just gonna stick with him. Have to remember Expeditious Reload is a thing. Tech use for Shield Master. Yeah. He's still better. Master of Maneuvers. That should definitely be Abelard. Warp channeler should be either Idira or Cassia. Or I can assign Argenta with her minus 170. And Master of Etherics is all about perception. Oh, so then we can have Idira be Master of Etherics instead, because she's better at that. And then we upgrade Arc Augury. There we go. And then we keep traveling. Save game. And away we go. So this is the way, right? Telecus, then Silence, and then Mundus Valentius, yes. The calm bead in your ear comes to life with a crackle. Lord Captain, Abelard coughs slightly. Following the rites of healing performed by the esteemed Manipulus Febris upon the implantation throne in the Sector Biomechanica, the machine spirits dwelling within the relic revealed something extraordinary to us. Upon awakening, the sacred Archaeotech brought several more machines back to wakefulness. After performing diagnostic rituals, the tech priest discovered a secret door behind one of the devices. It was inscribed with an ancient Von Valancia's coat of arms. As soon as the tech priest tried to enter, a genetic guardian blocked the way. It refused to open the door to anyone but rogue trader Siberian Von Valancius or his heir. Manipulus Flavorus? Siberian Von Valancius, what do we know about him? Therein lies the problem, your ladyship. No rogue trader by the name of Siberian is listed in any dynastic chronicle. The historiators of the flagship are also unfamiliar with the name. Why the Guardian thinks it belongs to an owner that never existed is a mystery, and only you, as the actual head of the dynasty, can find the answer. Alright, I will check the door and the Guardian immediately. As you say, your ladyship, the High Factotum has taken it upon himself to make the necessary preparations. He will meet you there. Takes me there directly, I don't have to go there myself, nice and easy. Ooh, I have both my tech priests. Nice. I'm not sure this is the party I want, but whatever.
Claim to the stars.
The High Factotum, Chirurgian Martinax, and Genitor Ferens are already waiting for you by the mysterious door. The wall behind them looks perfectly flat, only the metal coat of arms gleaming in the lumen light and the steady glow in the Genetic Guardian's impassive lenses reveal that one of the dynasty's secrets lies behind this wall. The Guardian of the secret room looks far less menacing than the gargoyle that guards the entrance to the warrant chamber. This is just a small recess in the wall, framed in metal, with an analyzer needle inside and a small vid screen beside it. Lines of mechanically indifferent text appear on the screen. Access is forbidden. Entry is authorized only for Siberian Von Valancius or his direct descendants. Examine the coat of arms on the wall. The heraldic symbols cast in noble bronze are undoubtedly from the Von Valancius dynasty. Only certain details draw your eye. Some elements of the ornamentation and the archaic script. They indicate that the coat of arms, as well as the wall itself, is several centuries old. Answer me, spirit of the Genetic Guardian. Who is Siberian? The Guardian's vid screen flickers just slightly. Error. The request is invalid. Entry is authorized only for Siberian von Valancius or his direct descendants. Right. Let's put my hand in the recess. The analyzer pierces your hand, wriggling repulsively beneath your skin. A split second later, the color of the Genetic Guardian's vid screen changes to a welcoming green. Identification passed. Welcome, member of the von Valancius dynasty. A tremor passes through the wall, accompanied by the deep groan of ancient locks releasing. Vivisector Martinax. Vivisector Martinax's pupils dilate. He takes a wary step forward and freezes. Incredible. Generations of chirurgeons have toiled away here and were utterly unaware. Ferenc lets out a shocked exclamation in lingua technis, which shifts to a sharp binary screech. Then, embarrassed by his outburst, the tech priest bashfully steps aside, respectfully making way for you. Be careful, Lord Captain. Abelard narrows his eyes at the outline of the coat of arms, his brow furrowed stubbornly. Dynastic secrets can be more than a little dangerous. It is my righteous duty as seneschal to escort you inside. The door slides to one side with a metallic thud. Stale air rushes out of the hidden room, carrying with it particles of centuries-old dust.
I won't tolerate weakness.
Ooh, private chamber. Ooh. So much to investigate. Despite the stale air in the small chamber, the richly jeweled display case looks as if it's been meticulously maintained all this time. There's not a single mote of dust on the clear, gleaming glass. Oh, hydraulic booster. Oh! Gains the jump maneuver ability. But there is a chance that the user falls prone. What does jump maneuver exactly do? Jumps without provoking attacks of opportunity. Interesting. Alright, Niddler, sleep tight. Thanks for hanging out today. This chair, luxuriously upholstered in natural velvet, is clearly the work of a highly skilled craftsman. It is obvious at a glance that it is worth a fortune. He looks a little bit... He has kind of the same attitude as one of the people from Game of Thrones. He kind of reminds me of the mercenary Bronn, who later becomes Bronn of the Blackwater, becomes a knight. Kinda gives me Bronn vibes. Yeah, definitely Bronn vibes. He's like an older Bronn vibe. He's like a mixture of that guy and Charles Dance, Tywin Lannister. It's like a mix of those two. So he is wielding an Eldari blade and has some kind of creature that slightly resembles a Kroot mounted on the wall behind him. A figure in grand attire stares down at you from a portrait with an air of regal superiority. The insignia embellishing his lavish cloak leaves no room for doubt. This is a rogue trader of bygone days. His right hand rests on the hilt of an exquisite blade, and his roguish half-smile radiates majestic condescension. The plaque reads, Siberian von Valancius Massimo af Coronis, rogue trader of the Imperium and guiding light of his dynasty. Study the details. It's hard to argue with the simple truth. The subject of the portrait was an extremely good-looking individual. Not one of his meticulously painted scars, which the rogue trader bore like medals for military valor, could spoil his noble beauty. Let's look closely at the face. Chiseled features, dark brows, and a gaze full of inner strength. You also notice the finely worked furrows of stubbornness in his forehead and at the corners of his mouth. The artist strove to capture the complex character of a strong-willed man, and seems to have done a superlative job. With sudden clarity, you realize that the image has been significantly embellished. What you have before you is a ceremonial portrait intended to cast its subject in the most favorable light possible. Either that or the artist whose brush produced this work truly did see your ancestor as some kind of idol. Cassia studies the canvas thoughtfully, barely touching the scrollwork of the heavy frame with her slender fingers. The work of a skilled and undoubtedly talented painter, Lord Captain. The execution is so exquisite that glimpses of the model's own emotions flicker before my gaze, as if the master has captured not only the man's likeness upon the canvas, but his very soul.
Does anybody remember the story of Fulgrim? Oh no!
You cut a fine figure. The portrait remains silent, perhaps because, despite the vividness of the person depicted, it's only an object that's been hanging on this wall for centuries. Let us examine the weapon. There can be no doubt about the weapon's origin. The sword depicted by this unknown artist's brush was not forged by human hands. The fluid curves, the exceptional luster of the blade, and the gem at the hilt show the weapon to be the work of an Eldari artisan. The blade is also unusual for the runes engraved along its length. They are most ancient indeed. The inscription is in the Eldari language, recounting the legend of an unholy god of war revered by the Xenos. So Keelam and Shakane, study the background of the painting. Your eye is drawn to the head of the predatory creature behind the man. Its beastly face, distorted in mortal rage, is vaguely familiar, and its gaze, too intelligent for a dead thing, is fixed on something very specific outside the painting. I still say it reminds me a little bit of a Kroot for the quills. Reflections of light play whimsically on the expensive oil with which the portrait is painted. I will not dishonor the glorious name of the Von Valancius dynasty. I swear it. You know you speak the truth. You begin to think that the man in the portrait is looking back at you with faith in his eyes. Danrock, I have found a portrait of my ancient ancestor. I wish for it to be rehung in my chambers. The obsequious reply comes almost instantly. I will arrange everything at once, Lord Captain. Step away. And then there's the diary, and that is about it. Let's have a look at it.
I see what others do not.
Oh? You spotted some goods. Ooh, another augment. Relic augment. Dextral insertion. The user's attacks with a weapon in this hand inflicts 5 levels of toxin and the toxin saturation effect. When this creature dies, it explodes. Oh? Interesting. So a toxin injector. Interesting. Let's have a look at the diary. The cover of the book is coated in a thick layer of dust. The sprayed edges have warped and are marred with decay. Writing implements lie in disarray, an autoquill, an ornately shaped inkwell, and a paperweight, as if the diarist had made the last entry before leaving their secret study in haste. Let's dust off the cover. The sturdy, well-crafted leather with expensive embossing has hardly faded with the effects of time. The von Valancius coat of arms stamped on it is embellished with large gems. The book is covered in many scratches and scuffs, as if the book has survived more than a few adventures. At the bottom of the cover, the name Siberian von Valancius is written in florid script. It appears to be a personal diary. Let's see what the first few pages have to say. The pages are filled with cramped writing, along with blots, crossing outs, and sweeping underlines that reveal the owner's passionate nature. The ink is as faded and decayed as the pages themselves, the thin parchment crumbling to dust at any careless touch. What does the middle have to say? All I can be certain of is that the portion of my designs that most of my retinue would consider overly bold will not leave the confines of these chambers. It is rather amusing that this personal laboratory has ultimately become a secret sanctuary, to whose walls I can tell most of my ideas and research. At times I sense that the esteemed Exalt 117 is entirely aware of its existence, but the Archmagus has always possessed that rare combination of human qualities, a sense of tact coupled with the ability to keep others' secrets. The stream of thought is cut short. The next page of the diary has been ripped out. What does the last entry say? The siege is over, but it takes more than a single battle to... Let's take that from the top. The siege is over, but it takes more than a single battle won to snuff the flames of war. They are showering me with their artless praise. They're lauding me as the savior of the dynasty. And yet I cannot shake the thought that it may be my hand that signed its death warrant. What if the artifact in front of me now is not enough? Yet the place where I found this relic may hold still more. The God Emperor willing, I shall find them. No one must know about the cluster, I discovered. No one must interfere in my search. I will order Ambrosio not to record the warp routes in the archives of his esteemed house. And should I fail, then perhaps my descendants might finish what I started. The dynasty's private cogitator on Dargonus seems ancient and loyal enough for me to entrust it with the coordinates. The access identifier is Laria. This will open the secret areas of the machine spirit's memory. I hope I will be the one who reads this journal upon my return, and I hope I will destroy this evidence of my inexcusable faintness of heart. The remaining pages of the diary are utterly untouched. Perhaps the cogitator in the palace of Dargonus, mentioned in the last entry, can tell you more about this mysterious Siberian von Valancius and his life's journey. Interesting. Generous wipes the sweat from his brow, then sets to drying his fleshy hands with a silk handkerchief. Your ladyship, has your search been successful? Have you learned anything about the fate of the mysterious Siberian? I found a portrait of a nobleman holding an unusual sword on one of the walls. What gave you the notion that the blade depicted was more than just a ceremonial weapon, your ladyship? An Eldari blade, and an ancient one at that. A Xenos relic, without a doubt. The high factotum pales slightly and looks away. I see. This is... This is a strong indicator that the blade's wielder was a most distinguished individual. Even among rogue traders, not everyone can afford to possess such an... item. It must be a genuine portrait of Siberian. The fellow in the portrait was rather handsome and sumptuously dressed. I see. Alas, this sheds no light on who he really was, although an elegant appearance is indeed a hallmark of the nobility, and you are no small proof of that. All right, enough about the blade. Very well. What else have you managed to uncover, Lord Captain? After a thorough search, I found a handwritten diary signed by Siberian von Valancius. That's something. One can learn a great deal about an individual from their personal writings. That is, of course, assuming he was sufficiently truthful in his account. What did the diary tell you, Lord Captain? The final entry tells of a siege of Dagonis, but such a historical event is not in the chronicles. The factotum takes to absent-mindedly twirling the autoquill in his hands. Let me think. That is strange indeed. I have studied the history of the dynasty in enough detail to recall all the major battles of the last millennium, and none took place on the capital world. I found a reference to a certain cogitator in the Palace of Dagonis, as well as a data key that grants access to its archives. Wonderful! You should definitely go to Dagonis and convey that code to the cogitator's machine spirit. Right, nothing more has survived in the records. Thank you for the information, your ladyship. That is everything I've managed to discover. Your thoughts? Your ladyship, I imagine that Siberian was a man of remarkable talents and extraordinary destiny. I regret that I was fated never to see him in the flesh. The life-form Genitor Ferenc is extremely disturbed by the discovered addition to the genealogical tree of the von Valancius dynasty. I request permission to make the appropriate changes to the Sector Bionica archives. It seems that Siberian von Valancius was indeed the one erased from the official chronicles. I wonder what deed prompted such a step. I do hope that when the machine spirit of the ancient cogitator on Dagonis sheds light on this mystery, we will not have to consign what we learned to oblivion as well, Lord Captain. Interesting. Well, we were already heading to Dagonis, so that just coincides with what we were already doing. I want to go to my quarters. I want to take a bath. Because I want to see what Egan does if I invite him to take a bath with me. Or to entertain me while I take a bath. Let's perform some ablutions. I wish to see someone from my retinue. Which of them would you like me to summon, your ladyship? Eargun, I am in a philosophical mood. At once! Beep boop. I find the choice of venue for our meeting somewhat unconventional, but I don't deny that the setting is conducive to philosophical contemplation. So tell me, Teophania, what topic is currently occupying your inquiring mind? Enforcer, fetch victuals and amasec for me and the esteemed Genitor. I have long observed the precepts of augmetic maintenance, nourishing my flesh with sacred parenteral formulations. Nevertheless, my body is quite capable of accepting mundane provisions. To the glory of the Omnissiah, let the experiment commence. To your good health, Egan. The manipulus mirrors your action, draining his goblet. I am registering increased catalytic processes in my liver and an acute reaction in my peripheral vasculature. Inhibition processes in my nervous system are suppressed. The tech priest raises an eyebrow in confusion. Could this be some sort of pre-medication for enhanced nutrient absorption? He shifts his gaze to the servo skull, hovering nearby. I don't see what's got you so amused, Nuncius. Nuncius offers the broad, yellow-toothed grin typical of servo skulls. I bet they don't serve this on Forge Worlds. The composition of the nutrient substrate is unbalanced. Large amounts of lipid compounds and complex amine chains. Nevertheless, the organoleptic values are excellent. Although this method of nourishment is highly irrational, Egan dubiously places a piece of roasted fowl in his mouth. Most acceptable. Alright, now I want to try his paste. You say you subsist on certain formulations. Let me try. I doubt you will like it. These alchemical concoctions are designed to be injected directly into the bloodstream and are laced with bionic tonic supplements that are not intended for laypersons to consume. They may be harmful to the unprepared body. Alright, I feel like my character has enough respect for the Adeptus Mechanicus and for this guy to hear that and just be like, okay, you know better than I'm not gonna do that. You're right, it sounds like a rare brew. A wise choice. What do you think of the fare? I'm afraid my taste buds have atrophied considerably, so I cannot gratify you with anything other than my already stated findings. However, I do wish to note that tasting nutrients in combination is a most satisfying process regardless of their form. Egan smiles pointedly. I suggest we proceed to the more substantive portion of our conversation. Not least because my colleague is beginning to grow somewhat bored. The Servo Skull maintains his impassive silence. I wish to communicate with Nuncius, and I will not require an interpreter. Let's see how well I understand your colleague. Of course, Rogue Trader. I am sure my dearest colleague will be honored by your attention. Nuncius, what is your opinion on the hardships of the common folk in the Imperium? You hear only the low hum of the skull's servo motors. His views on life in the Imperium remain a mystery. I'll just nod. Egan tweaks the piston on his beard pensively. An unorthodox interpretation of Prefect Sagraris' writings, I dare say even dangerous. You do like to tread a fine line, Nuncius. Alright, I have... tell me, Nuncius, what is true love? I'll remain silent. I would go so far as to say the feelings are an interesting phenomenon from the point of view of genetics and psychology, but they should not be used to guide rational decision-making. Alright, Nuncius, tell me a secret about Egan. And truly, it is none of my business. My dearest colleague would never disclose private information about me. Moreover, I have no secrets from you, except those pertaining to the mysteries of the machine cult. Alright, I believe that is all I wish to discuss with you. I find dialoguing with you quite inspiring. Egan clicks his metal fingers, shooting out a spray of spark. Leisure time spent in the company of the Rogue Trader has had a beneficial effect not only on me, but on my colleague as well. And now we have an ad break, so that is perfect. I will go pee, so don't go anywhere. I shall be right back. Alright, we are back. Now, let us get the enforcers in here. You two, get in here. I require company and pleasant conversation. Do you mean us, your ladyship? There's no need to be shy. Relax with me for a moment. Orders received, your ladyship. We will commence relaxation immediately. The enforcers are lean and muscular. They sit down awkwardly in the bathtub, clearly fighting the urge to stand at attention. What would you like to talk about, your ladyship? We await your orders. You seem tense. Your orders are to enjoy some of this food in Amasek. The enforcers are barely able to conceal their excitement as they shove delicious delicacies into their mouth, watch them down with obscenely expensive drinks. They have never experienced anything like this before, and likely never will again. It is a feast they will not soon forget, a story they will tell to their grandchildren someday. Tell me about yourselves. Do you have any other responsibilities besides guarding the chambers? Enforcer Nima. For hundreds of years, our clan has been responsible for ensuring the rogue trader's safety during times of leisure and relaxation. The enforcer's voice is filled with pride. I guard the bath chamber, just as my grandmother did before me. She trained me herself and instructed me in my duties. This bath chamber can be more dangerous than a battlefield sometimes. You can slip on a wet tile, you can choke and drown. If the water is too hot, you can burn yourself, and if it's too cold, you can freeze. There have even been cases where angry machine spirits have released sparks of their fury in the water. And, of course, there have been numerous assassination attempts. And... The woman stops abruptly as the other enforcer loudly clears his throat. It's reassuring to know my enforcers are prepared for anything. We live to serve, your ladyship. We'll keep you safe. So what do enforcers do in their free time? When we're off duty, we train, maintain our equipment, and pray at regulation-approved intervals. If we do have some time to ourselves, we might play some Tantalo. And Bran over here carves things out of soap scraps, she nods at her partner. Though for the most part, we barely get enough time for rest, let alone for leisure. I see. Forces maintain a respectful silence. Well, you may relax with me here until I finish bathing. We would consider it a great honor, your ladyship, but please do not tell the Master-at-Arms we joined in your ablutions. Mistress Sourback will beat us bloody if she finds out. Alright. Why would Sourback beat them for following my orders? That seems kind of shitty. You're saying the rogue trader ordered you to relax and you actually followed her orders and relaxed? How dare you! Men, beat them! That seems overly harsh even for the Imperium. It's kind of a no-win situation because otherwise they would be disobeying my orders. Oh no, she does it herself. Oh, of course she does. Fair point. Alright. Let's get to trekking through the stars. Or star trekking, if you will. Alright, we want to go here to Silence of Masegret. It's not even that bizarre compared to IRL Aristocrat. No, it's not. No, it's very appropriate. It is unduly harsh, nonsensical, stupid, and completely realistic. In the middle of a warp jump, our sensors detected an approaching void ship, similar to ours in size, but of greater tonnage. The unidentified vessel did not respond to our hails and kept its course, approaching us at high speeds. Let's try to avoid a collision. The unplanned maneuver was completed without any casualties or damage. The unidentified vessel, or perhaps it was a warp mirage, passed by us and made no attempts to follow us. Alright, so now we need to go to Dagonas. And first of all... Wait, hold on. I want this Phlogiston, because I now have loads of extract gems. One of the more influential patrons in the Expanse has learned a dirty secret about the Von Valancia's dynasty and is now blackmailing the rogue trader. Can't do that because I'm not on good enough terms with them. So I can pay 2 profit factor. I am not going to give in to the demands. Soon the Expanse is shaken by scandalous evidence proving that Lady Theodora plundered ships and colonies that belonged to her rivals. The dynasty's reputation has been sullied. I think I just lost 1 complacency in Dagonis, maybe across my entire Expanse. That sucks. Alright. Who do we bring? Abelard. Double fisting tech priests. Solomon. What a secret. That is so shocking. I continually get the impression from this game that Theodora was very dirty. Very dirty. I don't think I'm gonna need to fight, but in case I do... for our last team member, we bring Argenta. Let's level up Argenta. Oh, I had to pick an away team, but because it's the Royal Palace, it didn't matter anyway. Well, yeah, I'll level her up anyway. Just for good measure. Imperial World, Adeptus Sororitas. Let's do Litany of Hatred. Let's do Perception. And let's do, since we can't do Awareness, let's do Demolition. Keep pumping that. Right, there we go. Now... where is my private cogitator? In the Von Valancia's palace. Probably in my private area. My private area. Wow. Wow. In my room, in my chambers. So where was that again? I think it was up and to the right. Here. Yeah, it was. Haha! I remember things! With a brain that retains information! Despite all evidence to the contrary. The ancient cogitator before you is a true work of art. Obedient to your commands, its machine spirit awakens with a soft hum of greeting. Alright, enter Laria. The cogitator falls deep in thought. Its cooling systems... hold on. Excuse me. Its cooling systems buzzing tensely. After a few minutes of keeping you waiting, the vid screen blinks and it dutifully presents you with a list of several journal entries that have not been accessed in centuries. Do. Open entry, New Horizons. The 3 star systems in the Cineris Maleficum that have come into my possession in my journeys shall henceforth be known as the Tier of Solar, Ignis Corona, and Fortis Porta. These are new horizons that have never before known humanity's rule, and whose rogue Xenos overlords obliged me greatly by having already eliminated each other. The artifacts they left behind, a legacy of sorts, are priceless. A blade I took off a desiccated Eldari corpse on one of the Fortis Porta worlds carries immense power within it, and is but one among a wealth of relics. Attached to the entry are astrographic coordinates. With a dutiful trill, the machine spirit transfers them to your data slate with utmost diligence. Right, 30-second Merov. Corda's getting sloppy. He used his Calixis connections to give me utter dregs, whom he tried to pass off as elite troops. But I can only thank him for his lack of judgment. Those with nothing to lose make the most loyal servants, once they feel but a modicum of their master's good graces. Lowly scum no more, they will be the sword and shield of House von Valancius, in faithful service to me and my descendants. Crimson Dance of Cain. The power contained within this blade is a most mysterious one. Even Exalt 117's keen mind has failed to comprehend it fully. Nor have several Eldari Xenos captured on my orders been able to tell me anything illuminating, save for the weapon's name, the Crimson Dance of Cain. I know Cain to be an all-obliterating embodiment of war itself in their abominable belief system. A fitting name for it. All right. Ah, okay. Turn off the cogitator. So did that actually put a couple of extra star systems on the map? Also, is E-Gun anywhere here now? No? Is he up by Pascal and I just haven't seen him yet? Nope. That's just Pascal. There's Idira talking to an aristocrat. I think we're just heading back to the ship. While we're here, though, let's talk to Mr. Scalander. Your ladyship, how may I be of service? I have been to Kiava Gamma by now. The planet was tainted by the cult of the Final Dawn. Achilles shakes his head. These are grim tidings. It's a tragedy that an industrial world of such tremendous capacity was brought down by the pernicious influence of the archenemy. Perhaps my colleagues can pick up the cultist trail in the cold void. Of course, it would be a small consolation to all of us. Right. Anything else you want to report? Nothing new, nothing exciting. Alright. Oh wait, I can get to the ship faster through here. I just remembered. Mundus Valancius. So... did we just get some new systems? Yeah, Tears of Solar. That's new. So now we are presented with a choice. Do we go to these 3 systems and face the Drukhari, which continues the main story and I think takes us out of Chapter 2, if I'm correct. Or do we go to Tears of Solar and continue the DLC first? I think we go for the DLC first. That makes the most sense to me. So let's make this a little safer. Travel here.
Lord Captain, urgent Vox transmission from the Sector Bionica.
Hail, rogue trader. Egan's sonorous voice fills the channel. As you know, there are no unsolvable dilemmas, only poorly formulated questions. You strike me as someone who knows how to ask the right questions, and so I would like to invite you to participate in my scientific research. Will you honor me with your presence in the Sector Bionica? I am intrigued. I shall proceed to you directly, Genitor. Blessed are those who heed the call of the Omnissiah. I shall look forward to our conversation, rogue trader. Oh, Jesus. That made me a little dizzy. On the operating tables, several bodies are laid out, their mutilations exposed to the chill air. Their chest and abdominal cavities yawn wide, excavated of their augmented organs, which now nestle in flasks still connected to the bodies by tubes and cables. Judging by the rhythmic contractions, the organs are still functioning. Egan hovers beside the tables, assiduously taking measurements and jabbing mechadendrites into the extracted organs or inside the bodies. Nuncius keeps stoic vigil nearby, an impassive observer of this grotesque spectacle. Let's take a closer look at the bodies. 3 men of differing ages lies before you, young, middle-aged, and old. If you look closely, you can see that they still have a semblance of life about them. Each one has had the top of his skull delicately removed, and electrodes are now attached to the bluish-hued brain tissue latticed with blood vessels. Below the neck is one continuous gaping wound, the edges spread and held in place by a complex system of clamps. Alright, examine the young man. The pathologically emaciated build and spindly, almost transparent limbs indicate that this is a voidborn. A glance into the open ribcage reveals signs of damage. The sac around the heart is torn, and the vessels have been reinforced with metal staples. The poor youth's heart is half augment. Both ventricles have been replaced by pumps, which are connected to opaque tubes that run to the Medicaid device's reservoir. The young man's neck is tattooed with his Bay Code and job title. It seems he is a common worker from the lower decks. And the middle-aged man? With his well-developed musculature and strong bones, the man presents a stark contrast to the others. His left arm is missing, along with parts of his shoulder. Shreds of major vessels protrude from the neatly trimmed stump. They have been closed off with bizarre-looking end caps that are wired to a metal arm lying nearby. The Enforcer's emblem is tattooed on the man's neck, topped with the Von Valancius coat of arms. And the old man? The old man's eyelids are closed and his face is serene. He might appear to be sleeping peacefully, were it not for the deathly pallor of his face and his his monstrously mangled neck. He had been fitted with a voice implant at some point previously, but it had recently been wrenched from the unfortunate man's body. Every so often, the metal hose now serving as his trachea emits a reedy whistling sound. He is clutching something tightly in his right hand. It is an ornate set of prayer beads, the kind used by ordained servants of the ecclesiarchy. Absorbed in his work, Eogan pauses for a moment, listening to Nuncius, then glances at the cogitators and shakes his head. No, dearest colleague, that would be excessive. Eogan, what manner of experiment do you plan to conduct on these men? The Manipulus's massive bulk spins around to face you, his eyes dancing with excitement. Rogue trader! Your arrival has triggered a cascade of impulses in the prefrontal cortex of my brain. Delight, that's the word I was searching for. Cast off your worries. The subjects of the experiments have been preserved through a combination of alchemical compounds, local transactions of the motive force, and moderately invasive augmentation procedures. In other words, all three are very much alive. Throughout his speech, Eogan's mechadendrites continue their manipulation of the bodies. The crux. All three organisms were found in critical condition. I ask myself, is their usefulness and productive capacity truly at an end? Nonsense. To move from a state of being to a state of non-being entails no benefits or meaning. I personally ensured that their vital functions were preserved. Our goal could not be simpler: to vanquish death by creating the perfect righteous man, that which I have dubbed the Triasomata. Needless to say, the procedure is highly experimental and demands a certain looseness of the interpretation in regard to augmentation canons, as well as integration of components that would incur the Imperium's disapproval. But the Omnissiah teaches us to surmount any obstacle in the name of knowledge, especially when pursuing a goal of such magnitude.
I don't like the sound of this. This sounds bad.
Triasomata, what is that? The triune essence, the amalgam of the best constituent parts of three individuals who have excelled themselves in service. Metaphysically, it consists of three beginnings: mortal flesh, ferrum sanctum, and righteousness. By creating the perfect combination, we will achieve a totality that is vastly superior to its components in its qualities and usefulness to the Imperium. What is the practical significance of your experiment? In their current state, each of the subjects is doomed. But just as the parts of the dying mechanisms can be combined again to create a functioning machine, so too can these subjects be combined into a single entity, granting them continued life through the correct configuration of the ferrum sanctum and organic components of all three. The only thing I require to continue the experiment is a solution of my dilemma. Which subject should serve as the basis? Eogan turns his burning gaze to you. How did you decide to create a Triasomata out of these three? There are strong arguments in favor of each of them. The Genitor raises a clawed mechadendrite and begins flexing its manipulators in time with his words. Firstly, they have all performed their service impeccably, which suggests outstanding human qualities. Second, each body is robust enough to receive the blessing of the Omnissiah. And thirdly, there is no other chance of salvation for any of them. Why are the subjects so horribly mutilated? 2 reasons. The first is that they were previously fatally injured. I have performed numerous rites and manipulations to ensure that each was able to avoid a fatal outcome. The second is that I have been conducting the necessary measurements to fully assess the compatibilities of the configurations of ferrum sanctum and organic components for an optimal experimental result. This often requires the extraction of said components. Why is this experiment so important to you? An angry spark sips along the pistons in the manipulous beard. He floats higher, turning his glowering gaze on the sector's ceiling. Because I cannot abide this senseless waste of potential. I cannot accept that a foolish accident and the fragility of organic flesh can, in an instant, deprive the Imperium of worthy servants. And if I am able to extend their service life, I will do so, whatever the cost. Eogan's passionate speech could be mistaken for pride and conceit, but something else lies behind it, a doggedness born of some deeply personal experience. The man carries a heavy burden, and the experiment is but one of his many attempts to relieve himself of it at last. So, obviously Nuncius was a friend of his who died? And that has haunted him ever since. He turned Nuncius into a servo skull, but he really wishes and is now searching for the technology that could have allowed Nuncius to survive. That is my best guess. Drifting lower once more, Eogan calmly talks. Any more questions plaguing you, rogue trader? Organisms? They're not things, Eogan. You're talking about people. Ah, I see we have found a lacuna in your knowledge of scientific syntax. An organism is... Eogan breaks off and casts a confused look at Nuncius. Apologies, rogue trader. I am not well versed in contact with laypersons. Nuncius far surpasses me in every way when it comes to communication. I recognize that these individuals have minds, desires, and needs. I have not attempted to interfere with their personalities. On the contrary, I wholly admire each for their traits, for their own traits. I use the term organism with nothing but the deepest respect for these men and their vital functions. Could be he's searching for potential immortality. I think he is, Sandstail. I think he is searching for immortality, but I think the inciting spark for that search, for what I suspect is an obsession with that search, is the loss of his childhood friend Nuncius. I think that's what kicked it all off. And if so, that's kind of tragic. And we all know that 40k loves its tragedy. Very well, I will help you, but what role am I to play in this experiment? A decisive one. I can detail the composition and humor ratio of each experimental subject, measure the mass of their frontal lobe, or answer with picosecond accuracy how often their heart contracts. But how does one calculate a man's righteousness? How do you weigh diligence of service? You will help me answer these questions by choosing the basis for the Trias Amata. Your assessment will be the linchpin upon which this experiment hinges. What do you understand by the term righteousness? The combination of countless factors that unite the thoughts and deeds of the person in the quintessence of the worth of his being within his specific society. I am at a loss to provide a less broad definition, but no matter. Much more important is how you define righteousness. The subject you choose will determine the answer to that question. Why not just combine all three minds to serve as the basis? Three minds cannot coexist in one body. Setting aside the fact that even I would not be capable of achieving such a feat in practice, in theory, it would certainly lead to the complete destruction of all three minds. Some less flexible thinkers might even consider it heresy. You sense some agreement in Nuncius' silence. As my dearest colleague rightly notes, we have encountered many such points of contention over the years. Well, why don't you just ask Nuncius for advice? My dearest colleague and I have had more than one concilium, but we've never reached a consensus. Nuncius is a skeptic, and our positions rarely align, but we tend to reach a compromise in the end. But alas, not on this occasion. The only thing we agree on is the need for a third opinion. Only you can furnish us with said opinion. That is an incontrovertible fact. Alright, well, what is it that Nuncius disagrees with? The servo skull hovers in haughty silence, which is broken only by Eogan's sighs of exasperation. Pressing his lips together, the manipulus grunts out. To condense his overly pedantic response, Nuncius does not consider righteousness to be in any way a significant factor in this research. Had I any less respect for my dearest colleague, I would say that this constitutes an egregious misunderstanding of the concept of the Trias Amata, and is indicative of extreme closed-mindedness. But such remarks are beneath me. This man calling someone else pedantic? Yeah, I mean, often the flaws we see in others are really our own. Before I make my choice, tell me about the merits of all three. The mechadendrite touches the table with the middle-aged man. Enforcer Lorink. He has diligently served on the ship since birth, a participant in countless combat landings where he was a model of valor and steadfastness. He was known on the lower decks for being tough but fair. His last act of heroism was the rescue of an enforcer patrol and a number of workers on deck 515-E-2. Lorink placed his own body over a crack grenade thrown from the crowd by a mutineer. Hey, Trix! Good to see you! How have I been? Oh, you know. Ups and downs, life's been lifing. Overall, I've been getting by. How about you? How you doing, man? Next is the old man. Preacher Cleophanes. Originally assigned to serve in the ship's reliquary, he rejected the luxury of the chapel in favor of an eternal pilgrimage on the decks where no servant of the ecclesiarchy had ever set foot. Through his example and word, he encouraged and instructed the outcast and forgotten. Thousands of souls who would otherwise have lost their faith and fallen into heresy came to know the word of the emperor. But it only took one to end Cleophanes' preaching for good. A madman attacked him during a sermon, managing to rip out the preacher's vocal implant before the crowd tore him apart. Pretty good. Been playing a lot of World of Warcraft in both PoEs. Nice. Nice. I've been getting dragged into playing both Marvel Rivals and Overwatch recently, which are not really games I typically play, but I've been having fun with it. Finally, Eogan touches the Voidborn youth. Mikosh, a ventilation shaft crawler from Sorting Hub 10. He dutifully burned mold slime and vermin, and would be the first to climb into blocked ducts, risking his life to deliver recycled air into the sector. He was a true believer, and never lamented his lot. On his final foray, he saved hundreds of workers by using his body to pluck a hole in combustible gas pipe. The toxicity led to cardiac arrest and blood poisoning. Right, I am ready to make a decision. Who will form the basis of the Triasomata? I pick the Enforcer. Eogan contemplates the half-dead man lying stretched out on the galvanized surface. The choice has been made, but will you deign to answer my question? Why him? I must know your thought process. He sacrificed himself for many. Selflessness is the highest expression of righteousness. Eogan closes his organic eye, deep in thought. Finally, his face breaks into a smile. Thank you, Teophania. This is it, the solution to our dilemma. I will begin the triasomia procedure. May the organic flesh and sacred machinery be one. Almost 2.5 hours pass, and he has created his Frankenstein's abomination. With a barely audible crunch, Eogan's injector mechadendrite pierces the brain tissue. The man's face contorts in anguish, and his back arches in a fit of spasms. His brow furrowing, the janitor delivers a powerful pulse of the motive force, and the unfortunate man drops limply back down to the table. The tech priest's manipulators dart between the three bodies, separating organs, augmetics, and limbs, and transplanting them to the new host. Discharges of energy coruscate around Eogan's hulking figure, growing brighter and brighter until the final flash leaves you temporarily blinded. When your vision returns, you see the manipulus carefully releasing the subject's limbs from their restraints. The process is complete. The creature, which a second ago resembled a humanoid lump of bloody meat studded with metal, suddenly leaps up with unexpected vigor, tossing Eogan backwards and letting out an unintelligible howl of suffering. Before anyone can react, the Amalgam Man barrels towards the entrance of the Sector Bionica, filling the deserted corridor with his plaintive moans. Eogan stares after him in amazement. Impossible! The calculations were perfectly calibrated, all factors taken into consideration. Was the specimen defective? I must find the Trias Amata immediately and determine what went wrong. Your comm bead crackles to life, carrying the Voxmaster's anxious voice. Lord Captain, an urgent report from Mr. Sourback. A strange creature, resembling a malfunctioning servitor, is headed towards the lower decks, shouting pleas that make reference to you and Genitor Febris. Enforcers have been dispatched to intercept it, but they assumed you would prefer to assess the situation personally. Thank you, Victus. Genitor Febris and I will set out immediately. One way or another, we must see the experiment through to the end. Alright, we need a party. He is obligatory. I think I'll just stick with this party, honestly. It's a pretty good party. No, I'm taking Solomon off for Heinrichs, I think. Yeah, I like this better. Because I don't think I'm going to come up against crowds, and Solomon is better at crowd control. So I think this is... No, you know what? Let's bring an alien. Time for a manhunt. Yes. Before we go anywhere, let me just level up Elliot. Choose common talent. Ooh, yeah, let's get that. Choose talent. Assassin, other, in my sights, other. Let's do professional acumen. And finally skill. I think she has ridiculous awareness. Lorzinus. I'll take Lorzinus on her. There we go. Alright, now we can continue. What is my formation? Let me just... in front. I think something like this will work. I think I already fought a battle here. I just came in here. And I was fighting like some demons.
Follow my lead.
Trias Amata lies prostrate before the entrance to the bay, the faint Aquila on the door the only witness to his incoherent babbling. His hysterical wails of the righteous triune man are interrupted from time to time by the clanging of his augmented skull against the deck. A viscous mixture of blood and oil oozes from the staples on his forehead, and his fingernails are chipped from his attempts to dig the implants out of his body. This is like some cyber psychosis shit. The Enforcer's thunderous voice commands into the empty air. Check the arsenal! The Dynasty's banner is our Elder Down and Shroud! Do you want me to throw you in a cell? A spasm racks his body, and his already muddled speech turns into a frightening cacophony that barely sounds like language. Suddenly, the Trias Amata pounds his head on the deck again and spews forth another medley of ragged sentences.
Please, please, come back alive! Where's your helmet, soldier? God, Emperor, I will not be afraid. I will not be afraid!
Eogan clucks his tongue in displeasure, worrying at a piston in his beard as he thinks. The subject left the Sector Bionica prematurely. Nuncius is right. I was so absorbed in the triasomia procedure and its successful outcome that I made the mistake of unfastening the restraints before the psychological evaluation could be conducted. Rogue Trader, we must stabilize the triasomata before the specimen is forever lost to us. Greetings. I am Teophania. I just want to talk. The mumbling and head-thumping stop. The man shifts his clouded gaze to you, and you see recognition in his eyes. The Lord Captain, I serve the dynasty! With an unpleasant clang, the man slams his augmented hand into his chest implant with a military salute. He freezes like a stalled machine man. Then an agonizing shudder runs through his entire body and blood trickles from the corner of his mouth. Is this a punishment? Am I not permitted to die? I will not fear. Eider down and shroud. This is cool. This is horror. This is like some cyberpunk body horror. I am going to use my dogmatic adherent. Enforcer, you died a martyr and rose a hero. Dying for the Emperor is honorable, but living for him against all odds is the true accomplishment. I command you to live. Something akin to resolve appears in the man's eyes as his face is seized by spasms. A hero is to be emulated. A hero overcomes. Where's your helmet, soldier? He hammers his fist again into his steel chest. God, Emperor, I will not be afraid. Emperor, I will be afraid. The triasomata stops. The poor man's shoulders slowly slump, and the convulsions steadily subside. His lucidity does not last long. The amalgam's eyes soon go blank, and his mouth stretches into a blissful smile. Rocking peacefully and drooling, he murmurs broken snippets from his former life and prayers to the Emperor. Absurd. Unacceptable. Eogan scans the triasomata, furiously pounding the keys of the microcogitator mounted on his torso. You have succeeded in pacifying him, but the triasomata is rejecting the attempts of the implant's machine spirits to contain the cognitive entropy. Total personality degradation is inevitable. I must reassemble him. Do not think the brain managed the procedure very well? No, I don't think so either. Oh, this is hard. I kinda want to let Eogan go through with his experiment, but because I am iconoclast, I feel like I have to give this fellow peace. Yeah, I have to give him peace. I shall grant you the Emperor's mercy. Eogan is gonna be pissed. The Triune Man sinks noisily to the floor. His augments shudder for a while, then stop forever. A strange expression is fixed on his face, a smile of liberation. The tech priest looks gloomier than a cloud. Yeah. Rogue Trader, I am experiencing a cognitive block. I have analyzed every possible failure hypothesis and double-checked every step I made, and I have failed to identify a single mistake. The organic parts and the ferrum sanctum joined together perfectly. The brain was perfectly preserved. These complications should never have occurred, and yet the outcome cannot be denied. My calculations are perfectly correct. That is an incontrovertible fact. So, was the flaw in the conditions, or in the subjects themselves? The worker, the enforcer, and the priest have their own purpose. It's impossible to assemble from them a unified whole fit for all three roles and duties at the same time. Egan's fingers, which were nervously fiddling with a bolt on his beard, stop abruptly. He slowly says, "For every tool should be rewarded according to its function. Have I scorned the doctrines of operation? It is inconceivable."
You keep using that word. I do not think it means what you think it means.
This calls for thorough analysis and reinterpretation of the sacred texts. I was seeking a righteous man, but I should have calculated the righteousness in myself. Rogue Trader, I thank you for your contribution to our research. Nuncius and I can now call you colleague in all earnestness. I need to think, rethink, and discuss this new data with Nuncius. Please find me on the bridge later. We must discuss the results of the experiment.
Exciting.
Alright, well, let's get back out of here. I wonder if that could have come to combat, if that's why it made me assemble a party. Because there was a selection of choices I could have made there that would have led into a fight. I don't know. Maybe. Save and keep traveling. What time is it? Okay, we're gonna travel a couple more jumps and then we're gonna probably wrap up. We're being played like instruments. That's happened like 3 times before, so I'm not gonna read it out. I'm gonna make it significantly safer. And yeah, I actually think this is where I want to call it, so that next time we start by traveling to Tears of Solar and exploring and possibly getting deeper into the DLC. So I think this is where we're gonna save and call it.